replay battle for a position in GTP right now. This is for 12th. They go 4 wide as they go into the chicane.
Cool is still battling side by side as we go to replay, but that's going to wind up. Let's watch this with Alex to the outside, looking at 4 wide, and Johnny Bell comes out the best of the 4.
The racing standards in this race have been absolutely phenomenal.
He sends it hard on the bottom. Will he do the same block move as Jan? Yes, he does. Jan forced to check up. Here comes Jackson on the bottom side. Who will come around the checker? Jackson slides up. Contact with Jan. Jan hits Rafferty. They sandwich together. 4 wide to the checker flag. Bobby Rafferty wins it at Eldora.
Oh my goodness. An incredible finish by Bobby Rafferty to just hang on to it. Replay 10-1 here of that.
It's going to get it at the line. White flag is out. Battle up for the lead though. Here comes Butler. Throws it up the inside and up the inside. Jason Webb looking 3 wide for the lead almost. Almost 3 wide for the lead. Down out of corner number 4. It's going to be contact up there. These 2 drivers going to battle it out. 3 wide at the line. They make contact. Jason Webb is going to get the win up and over Crawford into third one. Oh my race fans, you just witnessed the best racing you're to see on iRacing all year. Both heading into the pit lane. Simon Bright. Whoa, no. Yeah, it was.
Oh no! Oh no! What's going on here? Caution is out.
Bryant got knocked into the pit lane into Dylan Freckleton. No way. That did not just happen.
line, and we'll look back to Caleb Hides and Wayne Burke. The battle for fourth, into the chicane, a big dive from Burke, he throws it over the curb. They both cut the track, they both got to slow down. That is the strangest photo finish you'll ever see.
I think he's got the speed for it. There it is on screen. 26 miles an hour. Yeah, he's going to coast to a halt. He won't. He's going to need...
You've seen some camaraderie here before, and
no. No, no. Oh, Sean. Oh, all right. There's a lonely car stopped feet from the line. We're going to save them more embarrassment, and we'll go to break here. Officially at 0, and Driscoll gets tipped! That's Matthew Thunhorst getting into him, and it's going to turn around a bunch of cars as up at the front, it's going to be Christian Challenger taking the win. Who is going to be second? It is an absolute mess! To the line, I don't even know! 5 wide! Schmeier! Beltrami is third! That was perhaps the most ridiculous finish to an oval race I think I've ever seen.
because we need the room for all these cars. Now we are on the Grand Prix circuit, turn into the fourth corner, and third gear, and shift back second gear. You can, yes, you can use for the right one, and now it's up to go into on the exit, all of the exits on the complete circuit. You need all the space you can find every millimeter. Now hard braking the chicane. It's really hard for the car, for the dampers, for the tires, and now we're on the Nordschleife. Now it's time to use too many curves, just lean on a little bit, like that. The Hatzenbach really fast corner, fourth gear, fifth gear on the exit. Take care, now it's a hard braking, and now it's more or less like a dance with your car as well. Now you need to try it really smooth, take that curve. This is one of the curves you can use on the Nordschleife. And now shift up, fifth gear, shift back, second gear. And that part, it's called Kahlenhardt. In Kahlenhardt there's new tarmac, I hope it's the same here. Second gear at that point, not easy. This is really tight, the circuit at that point, but it's the car's Now it's Lauder corner, fifth gear, and then hard braking for Bergwerk. You go back to third gear. A lot of bumps there. You need to find the right position for your car, and then the exit of that corner is much the most important, let's say, for that whole circuit, because you need all the speed when you go up to Bergwerk. And now it's Kesselchen, absolutely full throttle, up to 250, 255 at that part, and you go to the Mutkurve, and now for sure you need your balls for the next left one. You shift back, or you stay, no, Lorenz, stay in sixth gear at that point. Now shift back and just take care at that moment. You need to feel your car really good. And then it's closer time, third gear, second gear, for sure. Every time you get into that corner you think you are too slow, but at the end of the day when you come to the exit you feel it's really fast. Now it's time for the inside and shift up 4, shift up to 5, and then it's time to fly a bit with the Z4, and then came down. That it's not easy to overtake at that point. Then you need to shift back for Schwalbenschwanz. From speed-wise is the same than in the real car. Take care of the Schwalbenschwanz, this kleines Karussell. And then the exit is crazy. You fly more or less to the outside, and then you go to Galgenkopf. This is just a big braking, and the exit for Galgenkopf is really important. Turn in now to the inside, and now go back to the outside. And you are in 5th gear, then you shift up to 6th gear. Now it's time to call your mechanics at the Audi bridge, and now it's time you can say, let's say, all the temperatures from the tires or the pressure from the tires, and that's it. And on the Böttinger Höhe, for sure, every time you think you are too slow, so Laurin, try to stay on the left side to get a bit side draft, and yeah, the shortest way back to start and finish. This is Bielstein Bridge. You stay full throttle, and it's now Tiergarten. The car is bottoming a lot, then a small jump, then it's sometimes you can brake a bit because to stable the car, go to the right curb, left side, and here we are again on start and finish line, and that's it. That's one lap with Laurin Heinrich, and he did a pretty well job. The car is quite good, and I hope you enjoy one lap together with me.
That was a great amount of insight there, Dirk. Thank you very much for that. That was with BS. Yeah, that was with BS competition there in the GT3 machine. As that was an exemplary lap there, Tobias, and well, drivers out there in qualifying right now trying to recreate those exemplary laps.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. They're going quite fast right now. They're trying to give the best and give the fastest, as we're looking again on the Plus competition car with Laurin Heinrich in the BMW Z4, which is, in my opinion, the nicest car on the grid out here, just from a sound perspective.
Yeah, it's really a treat to the ears as he heads his way through the carousel, one of the most famous corners at this racetrack. And I haven't put in a lap here in real life, Dirk. How does that carousel actually feel when you go through it at such speed in these sorts of cars?
It's so crazy. Believe me, you come in, you turn in. There are some, you need to find the right position to turn, and when you stay in the carousel, believe me, the whole car is shaking, and you are shaking as well. You can't talk at that moment because it's so crazy. This is a triple every time. The whole car. I think this is the hardest moment for the car and for the driver as well.
Yeah, certainly very difficult. It's a very difficult racetrack in general, and let alone on one lap. You have to try and get the car to the end of a 24-hour endurance race. That is going to be the big issue for a lot of teams out here. The rate of attrition may not be quite up there, but for those that do get to the end, it will be an absolutely fantastic achievement. There's the Team Redline car out there. I have got word that Max Verstappen will be coming into this race and competing for Team Redline, so that will be an absolutely fantastic thing to see. But without further ado, we're going to be all done and dusted here for the pre-show. It's my pleasure to hand things over in just a couple of moments' time over to the team from Radio Show Limited, Tobias, and well, those guys, they know how to do a good job. They are the broadcasters for some of the most prestigious endurance races, and I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, they're doing a very great job in everything. I think there's no endurance race where you literally don't hear them. It's also going to be interesting because we get 6 to 7 hours of night, which is not only a challenge, of course, for the drivers, but also for the commentators, Connery.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an endurance race for us as well. So there we go. We will welcome their presence in just a couple of moments' time. But remember, the day-night transitions are in effect here. Dynamic cloud cover here on iRacing as well. All things that drivers do have to deal with, both in the real world and here in Sim as well. Driver changes will be in effect as well. So there's not one driver doing the full 24 hours. It is very much a team effort here today at the Nürburgring. And with that, we're going to go and hand things over to Radio Show Limited. We'll be bringing you the first 6 hours and the last 6 hours of the broadcast. Hello everybody and welcome along to the RSL portion of the coverage of this VCO 24 hours, the iRacing Nürburgring 24 hours on the Nordschleife powered by VCO. Very warm welcome along and thank you to our colleagues from Race Sport for the pre-game show. They'll be back later on board lap with Dirk Adolf. If you were watching the stream earlier on, was absolutely outstanding. Let me introduce you to our other two voices. It will be Bruce Jones and Nick Damon. Nick, I'll get you up first because we're going to lose you. We're going to lose you first of the two voices that we have, although you'll be back again tomorrow as well. You've been putting some laps in yourself round here.
Yeah, it's good fun, isn't it? It's not often you can go and decide to go and do a few laps on the same track. And yeah, I was obviously that 9 minutes, nothing on me. I managed to hit the fence more than twice in 9 minutes. Yeah, it's tricky on circuit when you don't know, but I'll be learning it slowly, so I'll be ready for next year's event.
Yeah, you hope. Bruce Jones, you've been watching with me the Nürburgring Langstrecken Series this year, powered by VCO. Good to see that some of the top teams are there. The Marlow Racing team are the team in form, and Alex Arana over 9,000 iRacing rating in second place to the man of the moment, Maxi Benecki for Team Redline Black, leading out in the Ferrari at the moment, which is not normally one of the fancy cars, but with a 10,000 plus iRacing rating, he is really one of the favourites.
Yeah, it really looks that way, and what we've observed over the first 3 rounds of the digital VLN, the NLS as we call it this year, is the fact that Audi seems to, the Audi R8 LMS seems to be the GT3 car that's best suited to this circuit, and certainly the Marlow Racing team, which now lead the championship with Alex Arana and Agustin Canapino, just seem to have it nailed down. But the brilliant over one lap through the course of the race just last weekend, we should have had a BMW victory. The BMW Z4 is the model being used this year in the virtual world, and but for a penalty it would have been their race. However, don't forget the Marlow Racing team fought back after an accident on the opening lap, so there's certainly the form team. I think we'll have a real mix and match, and to have the Ferraris in here as well is a real treat, John.
Yeah, and just for those of you joining us who perhaps haven't followed the DNLS this year and are a bit new to spectating at an iRacing or an online event, a couple of vagaries of the driver's briefing, if you will. The SP9 cars, the GT3 cars at the front of the field, have to change all 4 tyres at every stop, and Nick, you know all about incident points. What do you get incident points for? Explain that to me and how that could come into play here.
Okay, well, iRacing, to guarantee clean racing and to encourage people to actually follow the track, so it's their version of track limits, every single corner, in fact, even on the straight, if you go too far off the accepted line, you'll get an off-track instant point of 1. And where it is placed depends on certain corners. So obviously in some corners, in some areas, you gain nothing by doing it, so they're pretty lenient. Others, you can get a massive advantage by taking a slightly wider or sharper line and the points much closer. The other way you get instant point is if you have a collision, and the collision you'll get between 1 and 4 points, depending on A, how serious it is, and B, the repercussions of what happened. It's not perfect. So for example, if you get absolutely poleaxed by someone from behind, you'll still get a 4-pointer, even if you haven't done something silly like braking too early. But it does mean that, for example, you get a light side swipe, often the person who swipes you gets 4 and you get nothing. But that is the thing. The contact gives you points, so you've got to watch out when you're crossing and you're passing and you're lapping, and going off track gives you points. And they have 100 points for the entire race before they get, that's all the drivers combined. The car has 100 points, and then they'll get a stop-go, and after that, every 20 extra points. Now, with these top drivers, you kind of think they could possibly do it without getting too many off tracks, but it is very, very tricky, especially when the faster cars have to start thinking about taking alternative lines to get past other cars who are slower in the slower 3 classes. 23 splits, 1,265 teams or thereabout. A split, again, for those of you not used to this world, a split is to allow more people to take part than could ever do it in real life. We've got a
a maximum of 55 cars in each of the splits. They'll be split between, or they will consist rather, let's not confuse ourselves, of 4 different categories, the same categories we've watched in the DNLS powered by VC or this season. That's SP9, the GT3 cars at the front of the field, 2 Porsche Cup classes for 911 Cup cars and the new GT4 Cayman Cup car, and then the TCRs, which at the moment, because it is the only one that has been modelled, it's all Audi RS3 TCRs in that class. So that's how it will run out. So we're now looking at the grid, which is coming to us. This is a bit of a plot and bash for those of you who know anything about road rallying, because the entry list and the teams taking part in this top split are coming to us literally at the end of the qualifying. So it will be Maxi Benecchi and the Team Redline Black Ferrari, the 71 car, that will lead them to the start in a couple of minutes' time. From Marla Racing Team, Alex Arana, the Spaniard from Bilbao, day job as a production manager at a plant that makes wind farm equipment, and now also a Williams A-Series racer. Then it's VRS Coanda, SimSport and BS Competition, another couple of the big teams from Team Redline White in 5th position and BS Competition in 6th position. All right, that's even changed since I've looked at that, as my timing screen isn't matching up with what's quite on the screen at the moment, but we'll go with what the starting grid is telling us. Sim Race 24/7 A-Team in 9th, VRS Coanda, and VRS Coanda.
Kein Problem.
Ja.
Okay.
Ja, anders geht an den Chopper.
Ja. Anders so, da wann bei Zing, wann ihr nicht besaßt, da so nicht da, hey, pass auf, das Grabbel, da war nicht. Ja.
Ja, guckst du den Zing noch an, oder wie?
Ich gucke in dem Zing auf den Kapo, ja, also vom Kapo noch an, ne?
Oder wie würde man sagen?
Ob das so gut funktioniert?
Bin ich nervös? Ja. Oh, das wird gut. Was siehst du? Ich höre den Christian immer noch, weil er im Stream ist. Geh, sag ihm, dass ich ihn höre.
Der ist bei uns im Channel.
Der ist bei uns im Channel. Also okay. Christian, falscher Channel. Hau ab.
Hau ab, los, geh.
Mach dich weg, sitzt der hier bei mir im Ohr.
So, los geht's.
Auf. Good luck, everybody. Easy and safe, please. Thanks.
Und dann wäre der fast schon halb hinten rein.
Ich bin immer noch.
Ich bin auch, der ist auch immer noch bei uns im Channel, das Streaming-PC. Aber das ist ja vom Stream.
Ja, ist normal dann.
Dann, jetzt ist er wieder da.
Alles frei.
Egal, aber ja.
Sky Esports in the blue Ferrari. Ferraris well up here. 3 Ferraris in the top 4. The best of the BMWs. Lauren Heinrich for BS Competition. And Kai Kashuba sitting in behind in the team car. 75. Looking very, very good indeed. Sitting right in behind. That's Alejandro Sanchez.
As we've been looking at that battle for second place, it was very hard to imagine the other cars were right in on the tail, and then we cut back when Alex Arana hadn't managed to wrest second place from Patrick Snyder, and there they were nose to tail, the blue Ferrari, as you mentioned, John, Alejandro Sanchez in 4th place, but then the BMWs from BS Competition, Lauren Heinrich in 89, and number 7, Kai Kashuba, 5th and 6th. It's very close indeed, except for the race leader, who's already got a couple of corners of an advantage in the twisty back section of this circuit. He should be able to relax into his pace. All the pressure is on Patrick Snyder, holding down, what's that, about a 9-car train for second place.
Amazing that this is, remember, the start of a 24-hour race. Alexander Tiva still leads the Porsche 911 class in the number 911. That's the red line. Porsche 24 car, Alpine Eagle, Mark and Asher up in the second with the 327. Then Johan Hart for Guignol Racing Team. And as far as the other Porsche classes are concerned, we're waiting for them to come through the next timing point. But that top 3 seemingly just making a little break for freedom from the rest of the Porsche 911 Cup classes. They go past the halfway point, or the old second entrance for the tourist bar and the tourist laps around the Nordschleife, heading up now towards Bergwerk, and from there it's pretty much all uphill to the top of the Caracciola Carousel. Feneke still leading. And what happened at the start when we saw those Porsches going everywhere? Well, the question was, it was 3 into 1 into turn 1 that didn't work, and that started off a chain reaction. Interestingly, the second place car, Bruce, I don't think got a touch.
He did actually spin on his own.
Yes.
But he got going again, they all got going again, but one car at the back of that pack, car number 66, Eclipse Sim Sports, Dominic Ferraris, was delayed so long the Cayman class were coming through to go towards turn 2 on the opening lap, but he was still trying to get out of the gravel. He's risen to now 30th position, but he was down in about 40th place, so he's got his comeback drive behind underway. That he was an innocent party, classic chain reaction, but certainly the strange one though was 211 from second position in the class. Thibaut Kazumon going off on his own as the touch was happening behind him. Anyhow,
the 66 now fighting its way back through the leaders in the Cayman class, the 718 GT4. Carl E. Janssen for Core Sim Racing. He's been hot property the last couple of races on the Nordschleife. The 304 leads from Simeon Lynch for Burst Esports, Rio Toro, and then Team Heusingfeld 301 with Leonard Hartenberg. Nils Lawrence in the RSO 397 is in 4th position, and they've just had that 66, the higher category of Porsche, go back through. And again, it's the top 3 who have just broken away from the blue number 304, excuse me, the blue number 397, which sits in 4th position.
Further back to the season so far for Carl Janssen, leading that Cayman Cup class. Looking back to the front of the race, 2.3 seconds the advantage between the first 2 Ferraris, Maximilian Beneke and then Patrick Schneider. So Schneider's still holding down that second place, but coming under a lot of pressure from Alex Arana's Audi.
Coming round to the Kleiner Carousel, there's a bit of a cork in a bottle feel to that battle for second position. Just to update you very quickly, 42nd position, Jack Sedgwick, again a man in form, was hot in the last couple of races we've seen him in. He leads Matti Caziola in the Vendeval Sim Racing Blue ahead of Jürgen Frank in 3rd position in the TCR class. Now, let's see who gets the draft. The drafting effect here, the slipstreaming effect, is huge. So at the back of that line of cars, the black, red and white BMW will be getting a huge toll. But the Ferrari seems to be holding its own for the moment in second place. Here comes the Audi now of Mahler down to driver's right. That will put him on the outside through the kink under the Bilstein Bridge. He drops back in again, tries to get a little bit more of an aerodynamic advantage. Now in towards Tiergarten. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars together from second on down. That Schneider, Arena, Sanchez and Heinrich absolutely as one. That is a 16-car train. Thought for a moment somebody was going to dive into the pits in the MSI Esports blue car. That's Alejandro Sanchez. He's just looking down the inside, trying to get a little bit of space with the BMW coming up alongside him for BS competition. He's forced it round the long way, but now he gets the cut back with the different layout that we use for the 24-hour series. That was a smart piece of driving there from Lauren Heinrich, Bruce, because normally he'd have been on the wrong side and hung out there, but because we're using that cutout and not using the full arena part, and the reason that that's not used is that in real life the support categories are parked up there using that as a paddock, and that's why in the 24-hour race we don't use that part of the circuit. But that was a nice move by Heinrich, now up in 4th position for BS, who will be looking for redemption this week.
They will. They took victory in round 3 of the digital NLS, but alas, a driving penalty put them down to 6th place overall. But what we saw last weekend, and we saw exactly the same thing, out of the final corner, that BMW Z4 just seems to be able to put its power down really effectively. That enabled them to get not just alongside the Ferrari as the run down to turn 1, but his nose in front. And then, of course, you think, yes, he's on the wrong side of the circuit, but with the cut-through happening so soon now on this revised circuit layout we're using, the 24 hours, the move was his. But he was very, very strong in the late stages of the race last weekend. That was only a 3-hour event. Obviously, it's a very different affair this time around. But again, in terms of variety, we've got the 2 Ferraris in front, an Audi, a BMW, another Ferrari. So plenty of variety. Had to look all the way down to, let me see, 10th place though, for Martin Christensen for the first of the Mercedes, but he's at the tail of that pack, so he's still in the hunt. Just getting out of shot now, down the slope. White with black flanks, that's the Mercedes I'm talking about. And that's NB Esport Racing. And Martin Christensen getting a look as they go out through the trees. The car he's chasing right in front, Maxim Bunovic, Sim Racing 247A team. That's the number 1 Ferrari, but not the number 1 in terms of position, just a number on the side of the door.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, thank you. I see what you did there. There was a bit of BOP in terms of the weights of these cars to try and balance some of the performance. We'll not bore you with that now. I seldom ever want to talk about it in real world racing, so I'm not likely to do it here, but just to let you know that it has been applied before this race. This, as ever, was a very comprehensive set of driver briefing notes and regulations that went out to all of the 1,260 odd teams that decided to enter the 23 split. So 23 races effectively going on at the same time, although obviously we're concentrating on the top rated teams in this, what is called the top split. And it's still Benetti that leads from Schneider in second, and Schneider is doing a good job of driving in his mirrors, but it's costing him time to the leader, almost 3 seconds further up the road, with Alex Arana, who has been alongside in that green and white Audi, the Mahler Racing team. Williams Esports driver Alex Arana. Then it's Heinrich for BS competition in the BMW. Great to see the Z4 back out there, and a lot of people seeing who don't watch an awful lot of sim racing when we've been covering the DNLS. Great to see that BMW, that shape of BMW back again, down through Callan-Harthen and plunging down the hill.
What's happening here, John, is that Alex Arana is now getting real hassle from behind from Lauren Heinrich. It doesn't look great, the BMW Z4. It's a bit brutal, but the sound is fabulous. But it's the pace that's impressive at the moment as down they go, taking that sharp left immediately and turning as they drop down towards Adenauer Bridge. But Patrick Schneider being given a tiny bit of breathing space in terms of the stopwatch. It's about a quarter of a second, but that BMW in 4th place is now right on the tail of the Mahler Racing Audi, into the compression up the top, and those 3 are pulling away. Those behind can't live with the pace. The best of the rest is the blue Ferrari, number 75, MSI Esports, Alejandro Sanchez. He's got Kai Kashuba, who was pretty impressive last time out for the second of the BS competition, BMWs.
If you'd like to get in touch with us in our part of the broadcast here, at RSL_studio, Sound Vision and Real World's timing screens as well, and that's got strategy options on there. They'll play out later on in the race, I'm absolutely certain. For now, we're just watching the battles because this is great entertainment. RadioLeMans.com, and then click the link on the front page or follow the links that we've been tweeting out. Listeners Collective, the Radio Show Limited Listeners Collective on Facebook, also doing a roaring train at the moment. Battle for second, heading up towards the base of the run to the Graciola Carousel. That's the second overall. Top three coming down the hill towards the Bridget Adana, and on the a little bit further back around the circuit. In fact, no, I think they're a little further round than that. Yes, they are. They're just a tad further round than I thought there. That's the top three in the 911 Cup class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars now behind Patrick Schneider. And then the battle a little bit further back then for the Porsches. Oh, they were roughly where I thought they were. That's not too bad. They're just at the base of the Graciola Carousel now.
Yeah, being led by Martin Asher, who's super quick and consistent, but he's got a lot of company there. Alexander Tiber in 911, right?
That's a change of position.
Starting point.
That is a change of position. Asher's gone through to the lead. The last time that I was talking about that, Asher was up in the second place. So Asher now leading from Tiber, and Johan Hart still in third position. And Griffith Gardner up into fourth there. So who have we lost? Verstappen's dropped back a little bit.
Nah, he went down quite early on the opening lap. He was running in 8th place. He's still in 8th place.
Yeah. These three. You said it earlier on, Bruce. I'm not sure how useful it is to be either racking up incident points or potentially putting yourself in grief if you give yourself damage. Now, the damage model in the sim is not always easily seen, but the performance detriment that it causes is felt by the drivers. And quite often, the drivers will tell you that if they clip a barrier, do a bit of suspension damage, for example, the steering wheel might not be straight, or you won't be able to get top speed down the Doniger Hohe because you've got a little bit of an aerodynamic disadvantage. That doesn't always show up exactly on our screens, but my goodness, you see it in the lap times, don't you, Bruce, and in the sector times?
Yeah, I mean, what we always hear at the end of the race when we have interviews with the top few drivers is if they've suffered some damage that isn't clear to the eye, but it's clear to the stopwatch, but particularly on the run, if they lose a bit of straight line speed, that long run at the end of the lap, they just lose out and they're picked off like sitting ducks. However, there's a balance. Do you pit to have your damage and take the 5-minute damage penalty? Alex Arana last time out, the car was damaged on the opening lap when in the hands of Campino, and they went the rest of the race deciding not to fix it. We could see the rear wing was right down on one side on the Mahler Audi, but that was their choice. So it's a decision. You have to choose what you're going to do.
It's Bruce Jones, I'm John Hindorf, the RSL studio team. Thanks for your comments already. Gareth Evans said, I'm loving this. The simulation is so impressive. Good to hear RSL guys. You know, our Zach as well. Thank goodness to hear some familiar voice. We can almost pretend the world's all right for a day. Traffic now coming in to play as the leaders. The leaders are already beginning to catch the back of the field. Much smaller field here, of course, Bruce, than we used to see in the real world. Probably about 100 cars fewer than even an average NLS race, and I think the first year in 2007 that we did the Nürburgring 24 hours, I seem to remember the number 229, but there has been some change in the regs in the real world, and some of the smaller engine cars aren't eligible anymore, and I've got a feeling it's 170 or 180 limit now, which is terribly disappointing, frankly, isn't it?
Well, there's a limit on how many cars you can actually fit into a garage, John.
8.
The mechanics, but on a typical NLS weekend, we would be having anything between 160 and 180 cars in the flesh. Now we're going virtual numbers, holding up well. We run normally with these 4 classes as we have this weekend, so smaller fields for this, but it's building all the time. And it's hugely exciting to be involved with this, and the racing is fabulous. But in talking to the drivers, John, you said they've pointed out that placing your car when you're in close a close battle is very, very hard indeed.
Very hard.
Lost the experience has to be channeled into that.
Absolutely, absolutely right. Battles on the Dottinger Hohe on the right-hand side of the screen. For those of you watching, that's the TCR leads half dozen who are all in contention. Meantime, the battle for second position behind Patrick Schneider's Ferrari has the Audi of Marler Racing Team and Alex Arana, then Lauren Heinrich in the BMW, the first of the BS BMW, second, third and fourth, and a bit of a gap after that. So Kaika Schuber has dropped back a wee bit, and Alessandro Sanchez in the MSI Esports Blue Ferrari's dropped a place. So there's been a little incident there.
No, I think it was basically Kaika Schuber was getting all over the tail of the 75 MSI Ferrari, and I think, like anything, when you get in the heat of the battle, you both make slight mistakes. Anyhow, Kashuga has got ahead, and let's see, he's got a gap of about nearly 2 seconds he's got to make up on Lauren Heinrich, and Lauren's having a busy day in the office. He's in that fourth place, really getting on top of Alex Arana, not yet able to make a move stick for second place.
Loving the intensity early on. You've heard me say it before when we've been doing our online commentaries, and for many years we've been involved in the virtual world. But whatever the platform is, the cars and the tracks might be virtual, but the competition and the dedication and talent is absolutely real. And all of these drivers are putting it all on the line from literally the drop of the green flag, which was some 20 minutes ago. We've got almost half of the TCR field disputing the lead on the Grand Prix circuit at the bottom of the hill at the Dunlop hairpin, and now heading back up the hill. On the other side of that, the Audis are led by Jack Sedgwick for Craig Setup Shop friends. That's the number 63 car, the multicoloured black, red and white car, with Matty Kazoya behind him for Vendeval Sim Racing. Then Sim RC, another one of those teams that you'll get to see the name of in a number of events. Jürgen Frank in the 76 is third. That's the bright yellow car. Behind Jürgen, Cedric Nemsiek in the Team RSO 597, and Cooper Webster's there as well for the Evo Racing Team 26. In fact, behind that, 6th place car is there as well. So let's, for the sake of probity, I mentioned them as well. That's Nicole Foggy in the, not Foggy probably, in the XBR Sim Racing machine. That's the number 5 machine. And apologies if I'm butchering anybody's names, but we are seeing some new names in this top split to what we normally see in the DNLS. Some new teams to get our heads around as well.
About to be completed, John. There are 7 cars in that lead group in the TCR class. So let's mention Full Send Racing, Ollie Peacock. He's the last of that line of cars. They had a good run in the Digital NLS Championship this year. I think they won the class in the 2nd round of the championship, but really out around the circuit, it's still all eyes on the battle for overall 2nd place. But it's super tight. Still a Ferrari in 2nd place. Patrick Schneider, Alex Arana, the white and green Marler Racing Team Audi, right on his tush, and at the back of that, Lauren Heinrich, the BS Competition BMW Z4. Less than a second. It's about 0.8 of a second between 2nd and 4th places. But where is the move going to come? Up the hill to the carousel they go. Don't think there's going to be space on the inside. I wouldn't expect Alex Arana to try up the inside. He might try and unsettle him, but round they go to that sharp red panda. Fantastic images and really brilliant racing. And I sense, maybe if anything, the 2nd of the BMWs is going to, looking at lap times, maybe not. I thought that he might be able to get onto their tail. Certainly tripping themselves up, and all in all, it's adding to the advantage of the race leader. Maximilian Beneke, 4.4 seconds to the good at the front of the race as the battle rages behind.
We're watching the hashtag DN24RSL. Hello to Adam Shipstone, who's tuned in sound and vision. Nice to have your company. And don't forget, we've got the live timing as well on radiolemont.com. If you go to the front page, you'll see the link. Everything you need is there, and the video player will change as we go through the race. Oh, problem at the bottom of the hill on the far side of the circuit, and that is the number 12 car. That's the Mercedes Sport 100 DK car from the Porsche class. And that was just coming down off the bottom of the Flansgarten towards the Schwalbenschweitz, the Schwalbenschweitz, the Swallow's tail. What happened there? Now did this happen even earlier on than that? Looks okay at that point. Oh, got on the grass on the left-hand side, and from then it's trying to get it stopped before the hill at the bottom. Excuse me, that was the hill. That must have been the hill at the bottom of the full carousel then, from seeing that. Oops. So easy to get it out of place. And as soon as you were on the grass, I did notice the second place Ferrari actually wasn't too far away from doing the same thing when we were watching that a moment or two ago in the hands of Patrick Schneider, with a tiny little bit of grass being thrown up at the sharper end of that field. Leader still there for 7.18 in the hands of Carl Janssen. Core Sim Racing, the white and orange, and then a slightly more sort of like red, I suppose it is, more tangerine on the front of the second place car. Simeon Lynch, and then at Hartensburg for team Weisenfeld 301.
We have had a change of position. Alex Serrano down into fourth place, John, because on the last, certainly very end of the lap, the UBS competition, Lauren Heinrich driven Z4 now up into third place. It's his turn to take a bid to tackle Patrick Schneider. Schneider was very loose on the first part of the opening lap. Has still had a few more moments. You just spotted one, John, but he's still holding on to second place. The team red line, a black car at the front of the field, is now how far? With 4.3 seconds. Not really pulling away. No. David provides a little bit of comfort. Something that certainly Schneider, Heinrich and Arano do not have. They still fight over second place.
I'm surprised he hasn't been able to pull out more. That says an awful lot about Patrick Schneider's pace there in the Ferrari. We're talking about him being the cork in the bottle, but actually these three have now pulled away. Ricardo Schubert, Alejandro Sanchez, Andre Melchers for the Bigelow Racing Team Europe. The seventh place, number 450 Ferrari. Then Moreno Salicia for Williams Esports in the Audi in 8. Top 10 made up with Maxim Brunovic in the sim race 2478 18. That's the number 1 Ferrari Bruce was talking about earlier on, so that's a couple of places further back. And Martin Pitella for VRS Coanda in the 108. That's another BMW. Makes up the top 10. There is the battle for 10th position with the 11th place car a little bit further back. What about the car's length further back? That's the first of the Mercedes, the AMG GT3s. Mark Christensen for MB Esport Racing. Adam Christodoulou, by the way, who works Mercedes-Benz driver, is in one of the other splits of this race, drafted in at late notice, I'm hearing, to join GM Littman, another real-world racer that we see in Preventic, along with Joe Bradley, one of our pit lane commentators. They're taking part there in a split a wee bit further down, running a BMW as far as I'm aware, so that's a bit of a change for Adam. He's been drafted into that squad at late call. Remember, there are some 1,260 odd teams taking part as we're just watching the top 55 at the moment. But there will be results coming through, and there'll be lots of people with lots of stories to tell. I always remember the first time I did a 24-hour kart race, and I realised that in one 24-hour race you get probably a season and a half or 2 seasons worth of racing stories in one single event, because there's always something going on, and that's especially true here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Rich Jones.
I was just going to say, John, magnify whatever you do on a normal circuit, we can call them that. When you're on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the incident ratio must go up by a factor of about 3. I mean, there isn't a lap in which there isn't a potential moment of some sort of your own making, or the situation, or let's face it, on the Nordschleife in the Eiffel Forest, quite often the weather has a role to play. But right now the weather's looking very fair, spring weather, partial cloud, but bright, sunny by and large. Battle in the Porsche Cup class. Martin Asher, the 327 Porsche, being carried, riding the ball with Alexander Thibault, second in class. And Johan Hart tucked in behind. They're nearly 9 seconds to the good over best and rest, which is TQ Engineering Brendan Prodin, but certainly in the early stage of the race for the 911 GT3 Cup class Porsches, it's just these 3 cars. The only change of position has been Martin Asher getting ahead of initial leader Alexander Thibault, who started in class pole. And let's not forget, Tom, we had the first 5 cars trying to go 3 abreast into the opening corner in the Porsche Cup class, so they did actually quite well to sort themselves out, but right now it's Asher, Tiba and Hart, so really the class are good.
Tiba's car looks a little less settled than the car ahead. It looks a little more feisty, and it's rather steering from the rear end a little bit. Now, some drivers like it like that. It's not like Joe Bradley, whereas he hates a car with understeer. He'll have a car set up to be feisty around the back end in real life and in sim race. Down through the foxhole then for this battle for the lead in the 911 Cup class. Flat out. Oh, he was catching so much was Alexander there. He had to come off the throttle early. Down one gear through the left-hander. Down another for the right. One more for the first of the double apex left-handers. Then down into second gear for the last of the right-handers. Get the power on. Don't take too much curve on the exit. Up through the gearbox. Which is just over the top of the next hill, and then you start charging down the bridge at that now, and you bring the lap up in your mind, up the braking area. That'll help you turn it a little bit later to that left-hander up the top of the rise where it gets off camber. Now into Callanhart, down through the gearbox, late turn in. 2 ABCs made by the leader in class there. I like the short shift down through this part, try and get it up into 4th gear and then just balance it on the throttle. Miss, hit is what they say as you charge down the hill here. The hit is you've got to hit the last apex on the right-hander before you go into the left-handed hairpin. Down the box again in a second. Again, you can short shift here through the right-hander because the camber doesn't help you. Watch for the little access flood coming in from the right. That's your brake and turning point almost together. Across the bridge, there used to be a change in the tarmac there. That was your cue to lift off and turn in for the uphill right-hander. Through Nicky Lauder's left-hand turn next, and then onto Bergvert. And from Bergvert, you're climbing. So you've got to take as much momentum out of Bergvert as you can. Don't hit that curve on the left-hand side. Up through the trees here, it's going to be a set of left-handers where you're trying to scrub up as little speed as you can as you're climbing up through here. Even in a road car, if you've got a decent road car, 125 to 145 miles an hour going up this part of the circuit. And now there's a battle for the lead to the inside. That's a super run from what was the second place car. Good racing room given by Asher, but that's marvellous stuff. And Tiba has gone through in the Porsche 24 driven by Redline. Now he's got to get his braking point right at the bottom of the hill that leads up towards the Caracciolo Carousel. That was super stuff, and all about the momentum that he took. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 corners back when he came out of Bergvert, Bruce.
Yeah, he'd been looking very, very feisty for the previous few tighter turns. He didn't manage to close in, but it was a real commitment. But as you said, making it flow, and he even seems to be pulling away a little bit, but I must say, he's getting quite loose in places. I really quite fancy actually Johan Hart, who's third in this group. He's caught on the tail. He's done about half a second further back to the blue Junior Racing Team car, but that was really, really positive. But then you suddenly had the switch from being the hunter to the hunted. As soon as you got into the lead of the cars, Alexander Tiba at the right-hander at the bottom of the climb up towards the carousel, suddenly started driving defensively. You had to almost flick a switch. You don't want to, but he suddenly had a different mindset. Right, you want to defend. But in fact, he's driving so well in the number 911. He's starting to eke out a tiny bit of space in the lead of the Porsche Cup class. But that was a brilliant, brilliant move. But I must say, Martin Asher was very gentle in the lead and cut enough space for the lead to be completed without any damage. As we said before the race, John, and was many times through these 24 hours, damage is not your friend for the whole race.
And I might suggest that had that been the last lap and had been the win in the class, things might have ended up differently in shower of carbon fibre and Porsche parts. Hello to Andrew Muggeridge, normally tunes into our real world coverage. Andrew, you'll be loving this side by side for second again as Redline are once again right in the mix with VS. And team, red line white in that Ferrari, still holding second position. They've got their gearing absolutely spot on, haven't they? They're just tickling the rev limiter at the very VMAX as they're going down the Donninger Hurt, and then once again through the left-hand kink, down the inside. The BMW isn't close enough. Penega has gone through, by the way, for a new best lap time, 8 minutes and 4.196. 804.196. Hello to Alan Prosser at RSL_studio, and says, listen to so much stuff from you guys. Every time I hear you say the word Cooper, I expect to hear McNeil to follow. I'm surprised, actually, we haven't got Cooper in this, one of the WeatherTech drivers, of course. And hi to Connery Maddock, one of our colleagues at Race Sport. You guys have been doing some great work, and hopefully that can be highlighted in this current situation. And thank you very much indeed to Will, Connery and the rest of the guys at Race Sport for letting us come in and join the party here for this DN24 at RSL_studio. Chris Humphreys. Well, the one thing that we don't need in these worlds are virtual marshals. Chris, one of the army of orange that normally is out at British race circuits, enjoying all the different angles, he says, getting from the green hell compared to normal racing, and that is very true. And in some ways, makes our lives even a little bit easier to cover the race, certainly the shorter DNLS races, than we would in real life, because we have an infinite amount of cameras to watch. And at the moment, Bruce, all eyes are on this fabulous battle. You would think this was the last 3 laps of the race here, for what's going on in the 911 Cup class.
Well, let's face it, John, they treated the first corner of the 24-hour race like the last corner of a short race. We had 5 of them going around, and right now they're set down, but the first 3 are so far clear. Just look for a Cooper. There is a Cooper out there finishing running 5th in the TCR class. Cooper Webster for Evolution Racing Team. We've still got the top 7 cars nose to tail in the TCR class. Jack Sedgwick's still leading, but his margin less than half a second. But I think this battle in the Porsche Cup class between Alexander Timmer, Martin Asher and Johan Hart is just magnificent, because they're really pushing him. And every time when you see the car through front, through the windscreen, the car in the group or outside shots from the rear, they are working those cars so hard. And a lot of the drivers said after practice that if you put your wheels over the curve, onto the grass, it really hurts your tyres. You can't see it, they can feel it.
Yeah, and it takes time for them to recover. This is a truly international event in terms of where people are racing from. For example, we've got Alex Arana in the Marla Racing Team car. He's in Bilbao. One of his teammates last time out was the Argentinian Augustin Canapino, and of course he's racing from Argentina. I'm telling you, we've got spectators and listeners. RS1 for the audio if you've got to take us around and you haven't got the bandwidth. Sound and vision as well, of course, with live timing via a number of the usual spots, including Twitch and the iRacing YouTube page, and the also RadioLeMans.com, and of course the Race Sport pages as well. But Kevin Brink is listening in Coachella in California. He'll be out in the fields working at the moment. Kevin, enjoy it, and once the weather gets into triple digits, get yourself inside, won't you? So it'll be, I think it's going to be a really scorching one there. What have you got? That's 15, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7 o'clock in the morning over there. I think coming at 7:30 in the morning for Kevin Brink at RSL_studio. Hashtag DNLS. Excuse me. Hashtag DN24 RSL. Getting used to doing these so much, I'm confusing the online series as well. Right. So that's exactly as it should be.
I'm on Max Verstappen watch. We mentioned he was 8th in the Porsche Cup class. He's now up to the fastest in the group. He's up to 5th in the class. I'm a 69 911 GT3 Cup class. Really making a charge. His next target is 2nd up the road, Thibaut Casabon. So Max Verstappen fell down to, I think, 9th in the Porsche Cup class, but it is really making strides. Nobody though is getting clear in the TCR class. It's still Jack Sedgwick by 3/10 of a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The top 7 still covered by next to nothing. Magnificent.
absolutely magnificent. Down through the first corner then and through the cutout, back onto the Grand Prix loop, and then all the way down the hill to the Dunlop curve at the bottom of the Grand Prix circuit. They cross over the main road. Feature of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit and of course the Nordschleife is the amount of bridges that it has. There's a lot of places where the roads are going underneath, the local roads are going underneath. That's on the Grand Prix circuit as well. But of course, once you're out onto the Nordschleife, 15 miles or so of that, it's effectively going between little hamlets. And it was when it was built all those years ago as ostensibly a testing facility, but also immediately understood the potential for racing. Good news was that it accurately replicated the character of the roads, the amount of races the Alpha-Weather had been already doing for years before. I would suggest that even back in those early days, that racing cars of the 1930s whizzing past your door on a road race, I'm pretty certain that quite a lot of the local residents were fairly pleased, Race Jones, that the Nordschleife had been opened up. There was a Schleife as well, of course, some of which is sort of still there, and they did do a Gesamtstrecke, the whole track, for a couple of memorable races, but the southern loop didn't survive as well as the northern one.
You know what? In all the visits, I can't count how many I've had to Nürburgring over the decades. I've never gone on to the circuit. You know, you go to race circuit, gobbles up time. Yes. One day I would go half a day early and make sure I get some training shoes on and walk around it, because you can still see it as you're driving down. The ground drops away from technically the level of the pits and keeps dropping. It goes, obviously, as we know, right down the Grand Prix circuit to the Dunlop Carer, the right-hand hairpin, but it keeps on dropping away. If anything slowly accelerates, it must be absolutely brilliant. But again, you need targets, and anyone needs to go to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. You have to. It's part of your life.
Some of the tarmac has been overgrown. Some of it has been dug up because of the local roads, but there's still some of it there, Bruce. It runs down alongside the campsite, the Travel Destinations campsite for the Nürburgring 24, and there's still some of it there. You can walk it. There's still bits of that have been incorporated into the public road network as well now, and you can drive some of that, and it's a wonderful thing to do. Still, this battle rages on, by the way, and we're not ignoring the action on the track, but remember, this is the very early running. We're barely 4 laps in, and at the front of the field, the Ferrari has its gearing absolutely.
Well, in second place, John, just around the end of Alex Arana's second attempt to depose the white Ferrari, but it seemed a matter of time for Heinrich got up to second place and managed to hunt down Arana's Audi, and Arana, don't forget, is the form driver through the first 3 rounds of the digital NLS, so he carries that form into this weekend in 24 hours. But different people to play with. The fact we've got the 2 Ferraris in the top 4 to show different steering in the pot. Patrick China, who hasn't been able to relax.
Not at all.
With Creed at the start of the race. He's had someone on his tail every single centimetre of the way.
Now, already getting some questions at RSL_studio, hashtag DN24RSL. If you're new to this, 7 laps is what we normally see on the slightly shorter version of the Grand Prix circuit linked to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I've spoken to a couple of the drivers and they think the 7 laps, they know, should I say, that 7 laps is attainable. Must change all 4 tyres on the SP9, the GT3 cars. Oh, hang on, side-by-side action. This is for 7th in the Cayman GT4 category as they head up the hill towards the base of the Caracciolo Carousel. 397 sitting there in the battle. That teal blue colour to the back of that car. And that is Nils Lawrence, who's having the battle in the RSO number 3 597. Lawrence with Johnny Hagner right in front. Those two battling for some of the bottom end of the top 10 places, but who knows where these guys will be in 23 hours and 20 minutes or thereabouts. Just going back to the strategy at the front of the field. So we're expecting 7 laps on a tank and then a full stop with 4 tyre change. The fill time is round about 28-29 seconds, and then the tyres on top of that, because you're not allowed to do them simultaneously, to do one after another. In the TCR classes though, it is slightly different, and there will be 1 or 2 of those teams, I think, who will only change the rear tyres when they feel they absolutely have to. The fronts mainly. Right, battle for 3rd place now, is it? Yes, it is. As that's Kai Geschuber going through, is it? So is Kai in the BMW come past both of them, or is that Lauren Heinrich who's gone back to them? That's Heinrich that's gone back to them. Yeah, it's Heinrich that's gone back to them. That sort of threw me out for a moment there. So Heinrich, who had been in second, had dropped back behind the Ferrari and is now just retaken that position. So good pick up from the race book guys on the vision mixers. Thank you. So that was an interesting
Must have made a mistake not doing any lapping at that point, but maybe started thinking about the pit stop. We're on lap 6, well, lap 7 now, 6 laps completed. So yes, John, quite right to talk about tactics. But why don't you talk about tactics from the TCR class? Here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, as they have been since the start of the race. Only the car in 7th place, that's Ollie Peacock, just falling off the tail. But we're still talking about 2.5 seconds covering the top.
Freeze asking what configuration of the GP circuit are they using. Chris, that is unique to the 24 hours because they don't use the after the first DNLS races and first of the cutouts and double chicane and then carry on back round again. So this is an absolutely one-off configuration that they use, and then they run straight out of course. They don't have to come back round onto the Grand Prix circuit, so then they turn hard left. So they're not using the chicane either at the end of the Grand Prix loop, if you will, Grand Prix circuit, if you will. We do see a lot of racing when we're doing this, don't we, because of the unlimited camera positions that we've got. The TCR class, Cooper Webster sits in 5th, but a slip from anybody ahead of him, that could be the lead. Slip from him, he could drop down a couple of places. There's the Evolution Racing Team 26 now in the draft of the car ahead, and will try to pull up on Cedric Nemestiek in the RSO 597. He's right on the soft rev limiter there, and he's got nowhere to go. Can he slingshot out to the far side and try and do the do or die into the tier car? He's going to have to pull out at some stage as they're dragging back towards the top 3 as well. This is magnificent stuff, as this top 5 now are 20 wheels of Audi action heading to Tiergarten so late before you even consider braking. A little bit of trail braking there from the 3rd place Audi in that line. That's Jürgen Frank for Sim RC, just balancing the car because I'm guessing that he wasn't quite getting the aerodynamic downforce because he was in so much of the hole in the air from the 2 further cars. TCR cars, particularly these Audis, in the real world and in the sim world, they produce an awful lot of downforce just from their bodywork surfaces. They're a very draggy car, and talking to the guys that have driven them, and I have had a little go in one, even though you're allowed in the real world ABS in any TCR races that are over an hour, I'm told you don't really need it because the downforce is so extreme on these cars that you can jump on the brakes, and so long as you're not a complete rocket, you seldom lock the wheels up, and it's the front wheels, of course, that you don't want to lock up on any racing car, particularly not a front-wheel drive one. And they are a very, very impressive piece of kit. Factory-based cars, of course, built by Seat Sport on behalf of Audi, all of the VAG TCRs in the real world. So that the Cupras, the Golf GTI, TCR and the Audis, all built by what is now Cupra, a brand on its own, of course, for real world cars and racing cars.
Just looking at that, it seemed like a quintet. We were looking at the car in fifth in the class, which was commenting on Cooper Webster, but you could see downward watching the all the way towards Tiergarten. The cars in sixth and seventh, we've got 597 off the circuit there. That was Cedric Neats in fourth in the class. I was about to say the cars in sixth and seventh are somewhere away, but they got magnified. They went down the straight, they got closer and closer. That multiple tow. And right now we finally had the first change in this seven-car class battle in TCR, with Neat losing 1, 2, 3 positions by sliding wide. So order changes, but still, the point is these can run so close together. You get the magnified tow at the back of the pack down that long, long straight, and it really is your friend if you're at the tail of a big group like this.
Super concept TCR. Did for Glory and GT4, really did brought so many more teams at drive, somewhere just over 100, seemed under that as well, but tend to settle down at about €80,000 and then stay there. You hold on to the price, and of course the specification, the regulations has been constant, so there's no massive upgrade kits to think about at the end of every season. You just roll it out and run it again. And although these cars in the real world were designed to be 20 minutes to 35-minute battling wheel-to-wheel typical touring cars, we see the first of the pit stops. This is the VRS Coanda car coming in from 11th position. VRS Speed Virtual Racing School, as it says on the shade strip. Just finish off my thought about the TCRs. Originally, you know, touring car, wheel-to-wheel, door handle to door handle, wing mirror to wing mirror for 25 to 35 minutes. They have all turned into very, very competent endurance racing cars, to the point where all of the manufacturers in the real world have brought out an endurance pack for the cars that have headlights, sometimes larger fuel tanks, and also quick lift jacks, onboard jacks for quicker tyre changes, some heated windscreens and one or two other bits and pieces as well. And we've seen them, Bruce, not only here on the Nordschleife, but through championships like the Hankook 24-hour series, the Commenting series, have been very impressive, right up to and including 24-hour races.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, wasn't their initial purpose, but they've just taken to these long races so well, and they're really pretty indestructible. In fact, you tend to have a retirement. It's normally the point at which the driver has to put up their hand and say, that was me. They have exceeded my expectations, I think everybody's expectations, and that's why, and they certainly seem so well suited to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Thus, the fact we see so many competing here in the NLS and the 24 hours as well. And you just look at them, they look great. And the fact we've got 7 cars, even though one's made a mistake, it's still covered by about 3 seconds at the front of their class. 13 cars started the class, so more than half the class going for glory at the front of the field. It's fantastic, and I think TCR cars will be around for many, many years to come. Maybe the top TCR championships will become things of the past, but certainly in endurance racing they are really, really tip-top.
Yeah, Audi have already sort of backed away. They're not going to be pushing their real-world sales of cars as much, but they're still supporting their customer base through Audi Customer Racing. To the point where, when I was having a chat about that with an Audi team racing in the States, they hadn't even realised that Audi had decided that they weren't going to be investing too much more in the TCR class. The Volkswagen AG brands being pushed into different parts of racing, and it's being, for the most part, GTs with the R8 and E-racing as well, with Formula E. Porsche, well, Porsche, if it's a Porsche, you can probably say it's a sports car in some way, shape or form. Even the SUVs, and particularly the new Taycan, all-electric, all-wheel drive saloon car. I was fortunate enough to take a Taycan around Daytona International Speedway at the end of January, and my goodness me, I was absolutely bowled over by that car. given the great honour of leading round the Porsche Club North America demonstration and display laps. It was meant to be Hurley Haywood, but he was tied up doing something else, and the next oldest person who had an FIA international licence would have been me. I think I must have been pretty far down the list, I reckon, to get that drive. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and there's a heart of a sports car and everything that Porsche build, even the SUVs. As anyone who's driven a Macan or Cayenne will know. And these Porsche Cup cars, really in some ways, Bruce, Porsche Cup racing, the blueprint of customer racing that many other manufacturers have tried to jump on the same sort of bandwagon that Porsche have been doing for years. They started off racing their cars because Ferdinand Porsche, Dr. Porsche, didn't have the wherewithal in terms of PR and marketing budget way back with these little rear-engined lightweight cars to make a splash, so they went out racing, and 70 years ago, 71 years ago now, Porsche was a brand, and they've been racing for all 71 of those years.
Yeah, once you started just talking about Porsche and racing, I thought at first we were talking mainly about one-mate racing, and I can look around my office at home, and I've got Porsche Carrera Cup booklets since the 80s, lined up on the shelves, and that commitment is just everyone massive respect for everything they do. But it's the fact that once they started sports car racing, they went very, very quickly to the top of the tree with a small class to start with and work their way upwards from there. But they are rock solid. Cut them in half, it says motor racing. That's why people love them so much. One person enjoying one this weekend is Max Verstappen. He's just gained another position up to fifth place from fourth. Sorry, to fourth from fifth. He's toppled Timo Kazibon, but so Max really doing the Flying Dutchman. Lunking curve, all four wheels off the ground, and that's not the way to do it. We talk about damage to cars, potential damage, and the fact we can't always see it, but it can be slowing, and certainly Max is taking some big chances. Kazibon right on his tail, though. They're fourth and fifth in the Porsche Cup first, but I think Max enjoying his weekend off. He might be having a whole year off, we don't know. We pray that's not to be the case for any of these real-time racers who come to play in virtual racing and taking it very, very seriously indeed.
It's a great discussion on the Torah radio show last Thursday on RS1, part of the Radio Show Limited network of audio and visual channels, about what happened, where is sim racing's place, and what happens when the green flag race is racing in the real world. Again, it's on the archive. Go and have a listen to a really sensible discussion. Meantime, TCR battle as in real world. Absolutely. Was there some bump drafting there? I think there was. Team Red Line Company, blue car, the 24 sitting in behind there. That is absolutely together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's almost 5 cars. Let's call that almost 6 cars because there's another one right in behind. That is a wonderful gaggle of TCR cars, and I'm pretty certain there was just a little bit of rubber going down the Dottinger Hohe there, the fastest part of the circuit, where it's so long you can get your Kindle out and read a couple of chapters of your book. Should be coming into pit stops, I think, at the end of the next lap for the leaders. Maxi Fineggi.
Sorry, it's had the wrong score, John.
Yes.
Co-and BMW, that's Martin Pietila. But really the driver leading round by 8 and a bit seconds is Maximilian Beneke. Got away at the start of the race. His teammate Patrick Schneider acted as shot guard and defended him, but that lead has increased that one. It might be by small increments, half a second here, half a second there, but 8 seconds, very comfortable after 6 completed laps. On the second, I'm sorry, doing the maths there.
I'm sure it's 6 Bruce. 6 completed, so on the 7th now. That's fine.
Okay.
And an 8:03. That would be about right. 7 here to 56, and we've done 59.5 minutes. Meantime, Ferrari versus Audi, again, 2 spelt mid-engine cars. V8 versus V10, top speed advantage, it would seem, even with Alex Arana and the Marla Racing team in the slipstream. Into the pits for these two, so they are into the pits. Now that's interesting. Has he come in as well? Yes, he has. So Beneke in the red line black Ferrari 488 is the first into the pit lane, not a scintilla of damage. He pulls in under where our studio used to be for the real world. Aston Martin Racing Lounge. You seems to be right at that end, pretty much right at the pit out area on the first floor. We could look down to see what was happening. Now Aston Martin taking one of the big lounges on the opposite end of the pit lane. The Porsche 911 Cup Class cars going through the pit lane as well, but not getting in the way of the leaders. So that's spot on, Bruce, I reckon. End of lap 7, 8:03.030, best in that first, let's call it an hour, with the extra little loop of the Grand Prix circuit. 8:03.030, best lap of the race so far. In the classes, Johan Harth has the best class for the Porsche category, the 17 car, with an 8:19.625. That's the 911. 8:50.5 for the Core Sim Racing. Carl Janssen leading in the 718 Cayman GT4 category. And as far as the TCRs, it is Nicole Forgy in the XVR Sim Racing Audis, 9:04.758. So BS competition, Lauren Heinrich gone. Did they get out first then? Yes, they did.
John. I was just waiting to jump in, not just with Heinrich, but Kai Kashuba in their second car out into second place at a standstill around just over 20 seconds, 21 seconds less time in the pit lane than Team Redline black car of Maximilian Beneke. So
over a minute, 63 seconds for Beneke stationary. So that is full service. That's 4 tyres, which you have to take, and pretty much a full tank of fuel as well. I wonder if the Beamers are just a little less thirsty, and therefore to fill it back to the top of the tank is not taking quite as much time. The normal fill rate is, as I think, 2.95 litres a second from memory. And I'm sorry, if I'm wrong there, I do apologise. Correct me at RSL_studio. So it's not like someone drops a wheel nut here, and it looked like the leader hit his marks in the pit lane. You can't overrun your pit or undercut your pit. But nobody can drop a wheel nut here. For the purposes of online racing, all pit lane crew are created equal. Out comes 327, Martin Asher. Now we've seen Martin Asher, I think I'm right in saying, Bruce, I think we've seen Martin Asher do the full 3 hours of a race on his own. So looks like Martin's double stinting.
Yeah, quite often the races, 3-hour races have 3 drivers, some have 2, but Martin Asher, yes, I think you're right.
Every stop in the 24-hour race. So that was the regulation that Corp B only changed 2 tyres. They didn't change all 4, and they were given a penalty that pushed them down afterwards. So neither of the BS cars took tyres. So that's why they were stationary a shorter amount of time. So my apologies there. I was positive I read that in the supplementary ranks. So, right, okay. So unless BS have fallen foul, which we don't think they had, and I bow to the superior knowledge of Connery. Thank you for pointing that out, mate. Didn't go up on the jacks in the pits is the giveaway, and Clipping That Apex was watching that. So no tyres for the BMWs, and that was the gap that they got. Thanks also to Tanner McCullough of RSL_studio #DN24RSL. So there we are then. There's the strategy playing out. And what will their performance advantage or disadvantage be? Well, it's about 25 seconds or thereabouts. Let's see what they can do on their second run. The same drivers took the cars out that took the car in, so it's still Maxi Beneke in red line black in third, Kai Kashuba in second for BS competition, and Lauren Heinrich leading the race. I'm looking down, I think everybody else stayed in the cars as well. No,
One Performance Racing in last in the class. I think they've changed their driver. Let me just double check. Wayne Burke.
Yeah, I can look at that.
What would you do, John, as the team manager? Put your drivers out on the second stint to give them track position, a second stint on the same rubber. That seems to be what BS Competition has elected to do. They aren't alone in that, because Williams Esports are now up into 4th place with their Audi, and they were running at the tail of the top 10, so they've already shown form in the course of the digital NLS and maybe using that experience. But when you're coming up to lap the junior classes, there are 3 junior classes in this race, perhaps BS Competition just thought, let's have our car in clear traffic, not with anyone around us, and see if we can pick those cars off nice and clean and tidy. You'll be the first cars coming through onto the tail of those in the junior classes, and you don't want them to fumble and take you out. So I think probably a good tactic.
But best laps though for the top cars, an 803 flat we've talked about for Team Redline in 3rd position, 803.8 for the leading car for BS, 804.6 for Kai Kishida in the second car, Williams Esports the 9 car, 805.9, 804.2 for Patrick Schneider in the 72, that's the Team Redline white Ferrari, 805 for Alex Arana in the Marla Racing team. So there's nothing there when you consider the length of the, on an 8-minute lap to be a second to second and a half, even 2 seconds between your best lap and your competition's best lap is nothing at all. The key to this is getting the consistency, and that's where we're looking at the averages, and the averages tell the full story of what's going on. And I can tell you the averages between those top cars in that first, let's call it an hour's worth of running, because that's pretty much exactly what it was, so perfectly mirroring the real world. There was nothing in it. We were talking fractions of seconds in their averages across those first 7 laps. There'll be nothing in it for TCR. Yeah, go ahead.
Consistency is so vital. I think probably where you were leading, but do you remember last time out, Alex Arana was setting lap times within about 2 tenths, lap after lap after lap. We were doing 803, 803.3, 803.5, 803.4. It was astonishing. And also, our race leader now, Lauren Heinrich, was so super consistent and quick. He was the fastest driver in the closing stages last time around. So, small wonder they're up at the front. But don't forget now, Alex Arana with that longer pit stop, the 4 new tyres going on the Marla Racing Team Audi. They're down in 7th. Of course, he would advance from there. But now, at last, we're seeing different tactics being used after that first pit stop.
Yeah, and we won't know when that... I mean, that's the beauty, isn't it, of endurance racing, Bruce. That's why we love these longer races. We won't know whether that was the right thing, or we might not even know whether that was the right thing till tomorrow at lunchtime, because we won't know how the pace is affected. These guys, what I will say, for those of you who aren't used to this type of racing, don't think because this is the virtual world that everybody's just rocked up 10 minutes before the start and done a quick qualifying session and then got out in the race. The amount of laps that have been going on this week on private sessions, we've had drivers getting coaching sessions from real-world drivers getting coaching sessions in real time from sim racers, following them round, looking at the data, and then be looking at the tyre wear data, the fuel usage data as well, all of which is available in iRacing, by the way, so you can disappear down a plug hole if you're not careful when you start looking at what's going on. So they will know exactly what their tyre model is for this weekend, except for the changeable weather conditions. Now, it won't rain, it can't rain, that's not part of the sin, but what it can do is cloud over, which it's done now, and the temperature changes in the surface of the track make a considerable difference to the tyre wear characteristics. We saw that WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca a couple of Thursdays ago for the IMSA 90-minute event, that at the end of that race, the tyre wear for some drivers, and Shane Van Gisbergen was the man who managed the bet, and he was taking 0.8 of a second to a second out of the cars ahead of them on a 2.25 mile track, and what we're on now is a 16-mile track. So if you get it wrong when we're getting in towards the end of your second stint and you've taken quote-unquote too much out of your tyres, man, you are going to be a sitting duck. Or you're going to overdrive it and stick it in the wall. And that's the balancing act, Bruce Jones, that these drivers, whether it's TCR, but particularly at the front of the field, in the bigger, more powerful and heavier SP9 GT3 cars, that is the balancing act and the compromise that they're going to have to live with from now, well, for the next 22 hours and 50 minutes.
Exactly so, John, and I think what drivers have mentioned to us over the past couple of months has been the fact that it's not linear, the tyre wear. You get to a point and then it's suddenly an absolute disaster. You're sort of hanging on and then suddenly your pace has gone away completely. So what we're going to see, of course, is the cars that didn't take on tyres. The two at the front of the field, the BMWs of Lauren Heinrich and Kai Kashuba, they are really going to be struggling towards the end of this second stint unless they've been kind on their rubber. And I would suggest for a lot of these pro racers in the metal, in the flesh, if you will, this is their steepest learning curve since they first got in a racing car on a regular circuit. There is so much to learn in tiny little increments, and that you mentioned driver coaching from the SimSport races. Don't forget too that Williams Esports has got a car running here, and the drivers, not so much this weekend so far, but Sami Matichogan and Dominic Steib, who've done the opening handful of rounds. That's what they're employed by Williams, not just to go out and win these races, but to do real life stuff, testing for the Formula One team, and it's just a whole new world for old dinosaurs like me. It's hard to get my head around, but these guys, they don't just hop on the machine, they do lap after lap, hour after hour, day after day. No wonder they can find those tiny increments that we know in motor racing are just the difference between night and day.
And Alex Arana to the Williams E-Sport clan as well, although he has a real world job as well. And Sami Matti, no mean driver himself. He does some rallycross and some circuit racing in Scandinavia. But had we not been in lockdown, he would have been doing, at the very least, some testing around the Nürburgring Nordschleife. He's never even done a tourist lap here in real world, by the way, which is actually extraordinary when you think about it. But he was down to drive a GT3 car, I think Vandenhorst, if memory serves, and he would have been doing that based on what he has done and the laps that he has turned in the virtual world. And I'll tell you now, the amount of laps that I've done round here on Sim correlate absolutely to how quickly you can pick this up in a real world car. No doubt about it at all. Cracking battle going on for fifth, by the way. 0-5 in the right hand corner of the windscreen. That's the BMW in fifth position, and Marty Patila, excuse me, VRS Coanda Sim Sport, and then sitting in behind Patrick Schneider in that red and white Ferrari down through one of the slower parts of the circuit at the hairpin, now plunging down the hill towards the bridge at Arnhem. That road coming in from the left hand side is a good spot, good reference point there. This uphill, right-handed, just get the car balanced and then hard on the throttle. It feels like you've never got on the throttle hard enough and early enough at that point. Bit of a lights flashing at the moment. Oh, that's interesting as well on the Ferrari. I see the model on the Ferrari, the driving lights stay on and you can flash the headlights. That's going to become important into the darkness. I have noticed on one or two of the models, and I'll keep an eye open for that when you flash the lights, all the lights go off. So in the darkness, and it's very dark around here in the darkness hours, and we will get dark at the time that it should do as that goes side by side, that battle for position. Ferrari's going to have to go Buffalo Girls round the outside, but we'll get the next left-hander and goes through. Fantastic stuff. Well
he
done,
had to make that stick, John. He had to make it stick. Peterlo is on older tyres. Peterlo didn't was the first of runners to pit. He was a lap ahead of all of his rivals, and he's on his second stint on his rubber, whereas it's new rubber. On the cars that did tyre changes, Patrick Schneider is second in that class. He's fifth overall. And the best place is the car in third place. The best place of those who have fresh rubber beneath them. That's his Team Redline teammate, which is Maximilian Benecke. But it's the two BMWs from BS Competition leading the race. Lauren Heinrich, nearly 6 seconds for good over Kai Kashuba. But of course, they will start to struggle as they get up towards lap 14.
That's not...
got 8 laps under the belt.
Yeah, and that's only the first, effectively, partway around the first lap after the pit stops, and that's new tyre advantage showing up very quickly there for the Ferrari. New fastest lap of the class in the GT4 718 Porsche class. It's Carl Janssen again, 850. That's 850.218, excuse me. As he continues to lead that class with about 7.5 seconds between himself and Lennart Hartenberg after the pit stop. The team Heusingveld, the 301 car in second. Camillo Pizzoli for SRC Squadra Corsa is now in third. That's a change there for the number 2 car. Fourth for the 333 Christian Buck for Zorg Rennsport Esports. The SimRC.de Carbon, Tom Valentini, and the 376 has been top 6. Sasha Goulet for Redface Racing. So where is RSO 397? They've dropped back down again, they've changed drivers. That is Nils Lawrence behind that, the wheel of that car now. And XVRC, well, that's a different class, John. So where's the other team that was right up there? They've dropped the wheel a little bit as well. So the winners there in the pit stops, SRC Squadra Corsa up in the third position then in that Cayman battle. In TCR, Jack Sedgwick, as Bruce has mentioned, is still leading, but it's still the 0.2 of a second between everybody. And I mean, it seems they're all tied together with just a relatively short length of bungee cord, aren't they? It just stretches out and back again, down towards the first corner again. And it's extraordinarily close. 63 Jack Sedgwick for Manny Cazorla in 24 in second, then Jürgen Frank in the bright yellow car, the 76, then Cooper Webster in the Evolution Racing Team 26, then Foggy in the XVR Sim Racing number 5, then Cedric Nevelsiek in the RSO 597 car, and they keep coming because Full Sail Racing, the 85 Ollie Peacock, he's still on the back of that in the dark grey car. So that is still, Bruce Jones, the top 7. So half the class, as we've been seeing, battling for the lead. And it's not like they're not trying. They're not on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon drive. They're all on the very ragged edge of an Asian.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter if you're lying 6th or 7th in class and fall away a little bit. As I said, the drag, that multiple toe you can get down from the Dottinger drags the last 2 cars right back onto their tail. Ollie Peacock, Full Sail Racing, doesn't quite have to pace the others, but it doesn't matter. He gets a helping hand at the end of every lap and closes right up all over again. But I must say, Jack Sedgwick, they've just been sucking up the pressure. First of their class rivals has made a pit stop. No pit stops as yet for the other TCR cars, the ones we see at the front of the group. Still waiting for the Porsche Caymans to make their play for the pit stops as well. But everyone in the top 2 classes, the SP9 class GT3 runners and the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, they have all made their stops.
Yes, sorry, my
stop though.
Yeah, my apologies. I thought I'd seen those guys in the pits. You're absolutely right that it's only the top runners, so they're getting a bit more run time than I anticipated from what we've seen in the NLS. So let's keep an eye on that.
Good thing is there was a Porsche Cayman in the pits. That was one that's out of sync. That's car number 8. You see number 8, the Burst eSport Rio Toro. In fact, that was the one that was running at the tail of the top 3 or 4. That was in 4th, 5th place. First 3 had pulled clear. There you go. So you were quite right, but the rest will be coming in this time around, I'm sure of that.
Wherever you are in the world, welcome along. We've gone through the first hour and a quarter of racing, and what a run it has been so far. And the battles have been absolutely extraordinary. Bruce Jones and John Hindhaugh for this first part of the race. Nick Damon will join us a little later on. Then we'll have back to the race spot guys, the regular voices of online racing, who'll do the long nighttime hours. And that's where everything changes, almost always on the Nürburgring. Easier to make mistakes. Fatigue comes in as well, and then we'll pick up tomorrow for the run to the flag, and you can stay tuned all the way through in sound and vision on Radio LeMans.com. We've got our live timing screen up and running at the moment as well for you. Also, of course, on Racesport and VCO Motorsport, and our thanks to VCO for investing in online racing, bringing the virtual competition series together and really giving it a real-world professional feel with the way they have done press releases, also press conferences with the drivers, and even a photo service as well. Very interesting, as in these unusual times we are all looking for a bit of sport to watch, and the sim racing world has massively stepped up, and it's been a steep learning curve for the real world drivers who are involved, as well as us real world commentators. And we're fortunate to have had some contact with the virtual world many years ago, or going back many years ago to the Nissan's search for a star, if you will, in the GT Academy, and world's fastest gamer, Nick and Ben Constanturis, who join us for a number of these events. And Shea, Adam and I both been involved in various stages over the last 4 or 5 years with Forza RC World Championship as well. Now here's an interesting development in that battling TCR. Who's one of the BMWs. That's the leader, isn't it? That's Lauren Heinrich coming through.
Yeah, he's lost a few seconds there. He was about 6 seconds clear of his teammate. In fact, we now have a change, because Kai Kashouk was back in third. Maximilian Beneke, making the most of those newer tyres, is up into second place. So things are changing. He's lapping, in fact, about 3 seconds faster last time around than the race leader. So that black Ferrari working its way ever closer to the front of the field all over again. And really, when we get to the second round of pit stops, John, of course, that'll be when the BS competition cars have a longer time at a standstill as they go to new rubber. Then you'd expect the two redline Ferraris not to put a new set on. So it should all equal out, but I think we'll see Maximilian Beneke back into the lead of the race once they've done that little mathematical enterprise.
What will be interesting to see, though, is where the advantage lay. At the end of this next run, how far ahead will the guys who took tyres be? And is that better? Okay, let's cut this short, Haydov. My point is there a performance advantage over the time that it takes to do the pit stop? 25 seconds? Bit more than that maybe to change tyres? Well, in the space of 7 laps, is there more than a 25-second advantage? Because that's all it comes down to in the end. The supply of tyres is unlimited. You do have to warm them up, but that's the point. If you can go over 2 sessions having changed your tyres, 2 stints having changed your tyres, and you've made up more time than you lost standing still, then that's the answer to the question right there, isn't it?
I absolutely confirm that is the answer to the question. The other problem for Lauren Heinrich leading the race in the BS competition, BMW, is this 7-car gaggle for TCR. Because he came across one, he might thought 1 or 2 I can pass them, but 7 was another thing. He really got rather tripped up. But I still think that, disregard that if you will, Maximilian Beneke's got more pace in his number 71 Ferrari, so he will be ahead by the time they come out after the second stint. But
it's a 301
way to go as the teams adjust.
Sorry, Paul. Bruce. 301 Team Isingveld in the pits for first pit stop for one of the leading 911 cars. Racecraft Esports with damage slightly further down the pit lane. Sorry, that's a Cayman. My apologies. Heavens above.
Yeah, it's the first of the Caymans, but the top 4 cars in the class did not come in to take a pit stop. They're going around one more time. So again, different ways to take your performance.
If I'm going to misidentify any Porsche, it shouldn't be that one, because the same front end is sitting outside with a 981 nose on it from Eve's daily driver on the Boxster. Good heavens, sorry about that. I am going to beat myself repeatedly with the Stuttgart shield that is right behind me. Very sorry to my Porsche friends for that one. That was because I was looking at the 911 class on the screen at the time. It's still Mark Nasher from Thibaut Kozobon and Alexander Thiebe in the Porsche 24 driven by Redline. They're your top three there, and we're waiting for them to stop. The Team Redline Cup, Verstappen has stopped. And therefore is the first of the cars in the 911 class that has stopped. The 69 car, it would look to me, has rejoined in 6th position. Yes, it has. And he's right on the tail. Oh, no, checks that. He's just got by Brendan Cronin for TQ Engineering. So Max, still the first of the pit stoppers, but he's now into 5th position in that number 69 car. Meanwhile, back with the Caymans.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, back to the Cayman. But just to pick you up on that, actually, the top 10 all Porsche Cup cars have come in, but some have put on new rubber, some have not. Verstappen lost ground, fell to 6th because he did, but he's making the most of it, so he's picking them off in front of him. Brendan Cronin, the first one to be demoted, and then he's got a chase after Johan Hart, who also has new rubber on his, so things worth watching in that.
That's interesting. I'm not seeing that on my version of the timing screen.
Yeah, we've got different timing screens that hopefully cover it all. Martin Asher and Thibaut Casabon in from the lead, but they definitely did not put new rubber on, but very quick.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, that's going to confuse me. What I'll need to do is go to my strategy screen then, and that will show me where the stops were. And I can look at the timing on that to see who took tyres and not. Aha, there we go. Right. Okay.
There's too much to look at, John.
There's never too much to look at. Not in endurance racing. Never too much to look at. How long are these? No. These TCR cars, they haven't stopped yet, have they?
No. I was desperately racking my brain. I couldn't find my notes from the last race to work out when they come in, but the fact that one of their number has made a pit stop suggests that the rest will come in this time around. Jack Sedgwick's still leading, but Matt Kailasurya has been on his tail from the outset. Jürgen Frank in the bright yellow car from Sim RC, likewise in 3rd. The only position changes have been between 4th, 6th and 7th in class, and those are the ones right on their tails. But right now, Jack Sedgwick, masterclass.
We could have been replaying any bit of action from the last 10 laps for these guys, because it all looks exactly the same. Through comes the Ferrari right in the middle of that as they go out onto the Nürburgring Nordschleife. That is the, I think that's the 4th place car in there. No, it's the 9th place car. Thank you. The Bieler Racing Team Euronics.
Yeah.
Thanks guys for getting that up as quickly as you did to help out the slightly myopic commentator trying to look for the positional lights in the top of the windscreen on that.
I'll throw something at you, John. Go on. It's certainly not the Ferrari in 2nd place. That is only 1.7 seconds down the race lead now. Laurin Heinrich hanging on his tyres on the number 89 BMW, but Team Redline Black getting close.
Right in front of the leading group of cars from the Cayman Cup class, and that's the Red-Face Racing.
Good name for a like that.
Well, certainly. The Harlequin-esque colours on that, as my father, who was a police officer for most of my life, would have said, it's not pretty, but it confuses the witnesses. What happened there as he was charging down the hill? Too much curve? No. Coming down towards the bottom of the hill. So through Callenhart and down through the miss hit, sort of barriers. Oh, back tyres giving up. Maybe too much throttle. Clouds the barriers on the right hand side just before the final turn into the hairpin there. Let's have a listen. Oh, that was just. Do you know what? I think that's unlucky, because that didn't sound like it was spinning up, and at that point then you've got to decide, is it going to be made better or worse by coming off the throttle? And that didn't sound like it was spinning up. That just maybe tyres giving up a little bit, overheating slightly, and it sounded like the back end started to go. Very neutral car, the Cayman GT4, beautifully balanced. He's got some damage on that now, mid-engine, with the engine sitting super low down, being the flat 6 as it still was. It's actually there, the Caymans are 718s, not 981s now, aren't they? But they still have the same engine, the flat 6, and it's so low down, to the point where if you've ever looked in the back of a Boxster, where the rear boot area is, and you think you're going to open that hatch and see an engine. There's nothing there. I've still never seen the engine in H-Boxster. I know it's there because it makes a glorious noise and it propels the car forward. But blow me if I can find it. Got to crawl underneath the back, and even then there's a piece of aerodynamic undertray there as well. So that's 7.
Well, if you're looking for one thing, John, looking for a second between the race leader and the Ferrari in second place, you won't find one. It's less than half a second.
Right there.
0.466 of a second as Maximilian Benecke gets closer and closer to the number 71 Team Redline Ferrari. BS competition with their BMW. Don't forget, that didn't take on new tyres, and now it's a real struggle. Lap time difference is around 3 seconds a lap. Last time, 3 seconds a lap the lap before, but right now, time after time, Team Redline Ferrari getting closer and closer. A little bit of dab of the brakes there from Lauren Heinrich. He knows this car, he knows this track. He's been very impressive in the digital NLS, but right now you feel he won't get to the end of the lap. They've just passed the halfway point in the 24.4, slightly longer, isn't it, this time around. But anyhow, let's call it 25 kilometres between friends and more than halfway round it. But by the end of the lap, you really expect the Ferrari is going to be in front.
So you've got to say then, what? 2 and a bit laps into a new stint, not taking tyres doesn't work, because all you're giving yourself is a bit of a you-know-what ache by having to hang on to a car that's getting more and more difficult to drive, less and less easy to place when you go through traffic, and ultimately, the biggest arbiter at all, you're losing time.
Yeah, the maths is very, very simple on this, and it's very, very extreme. And I'm going to have a look at just watch the continuation of lap times from our race leader, Lauren Heinrich. He won't be holding the car back, it's what he's done to the tyres. But don't forget, if Ferrari and Team Redline running the second at the time, they're going to try and do 2 stints. Well, it's in proof you should not be doing 2 stints on your rubber. And if it's unlimited tyres, you want to change them every single time. The maths is very, very plain indeed.
Well, I'll put the call out to our Racebot colleagues. If there is a maximum amount of tyres you can take in the race, let us know. But I did not see that in the supplementary regs, and so if I've missed that when I was scanning those when they came through this morning, I apologise. But I was sort of getting a bit of technical stuff worked out as well. But if I'm wrong, then by all means let me know. But I can't see the thinking here with so quickly into the race. Because what they could be doing is looking at this for later and seeing how many laps you can get on a single stint, a single set of tyres. The lead's changed there relatively easily. We have seen though, Bruce, that the Ferrari is a bit of a beast in a straight line, and it does have, even when towing somebody else along, the gearing in particular, they are just tickling the soft limiter absolutely brilliantly. But that to me would say that at least for the Ferraris, it looks like the right thing to do is change tyres when you can, and the BMWs haven't made their tyres last. Now what I want to watch now is what sort of lap times the BMW can continue to do, because if they drop another 25-30 seconds away from this Ferrari, then it really has been the wrong tactic.
It certainly wouldn't be a tactic you want to repeat at any point in this race. They've rolled the dice. It has not worked, but you'd be thinking, why didn't you let someone else roll the dice?
No, exactly.
Well, Connery competition. They've got 2 very strong cars. They don't want to scupper either there.
Connie Maddock, one of our colleagues from Racebot, thank you, came straight back to me at RSL_studio. Norman on tyres. Double stints during the night might be more possible with lower temperatures. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. But the point, and of course, it will also take tyres longer to come up to temp in the colder temperatures, and that is also a factor. Absolutely right.
Squashes the difference.
Yeah, absolutely, unbelievable. This racing. Connery, thanks again for that. So our thinking on strategy is not flawed. Those of you with keen eyes, and Tim Gray down in London, up in London for us, in our main control room as the TCR field heads into the pits. Robert Kubica and Niall Quinn in this race at the moment as well. We'll keep an eye on their progress. Niall Quinn, the racer, not the former Sunderland chairman, and Republic of Ireland striker, I would presume. So into the pits, the full TCR for the TCR leaders.
It's almost as though they just disgorged the collection area into the pits before you go to the grid. The TCR cars are so close together. Not a blink though, but Jack Sedgwick still in front when he went in from Matty Kylie. So I don't expect who's hitting the deck first to come on out. Is it going to be 63 Jack Sedgwick? He certainly deserves to be the first one out, but they're still at a standstill. So we've had tyre changes for the majority of the TCR cars, but front end of the field, we can see the advantage is not changing your tyres.
So front tyres only. We'll know when to see the stop to see how long it is. That's a question mark at the end of that. Great race on the pit lane, speed limiter to the green cone, but it looks as though the Sim RC bright yellow car is going to go back out in third position, and it does. Oh my goodness, that was interesting. The Lauda Sport Rosneft iRacing car, Igor Orojnikiv has stayed out and therefore assumes the lead of the class in the number 50 car, but everybody who was in the top 7 of no, he hasn't. No, he stayed out. Igor Ogorodnikov is how I think I should say that in the Lauda Sport car. And there is the Lauda Sport car in its yellow and orange livery. A 4-cylinder engine, well over 300 and plenty horsepower driving the front wheels in these cars, and makes it pretty predictable. Always got to remember the difference in driving style between a front wheel drive car and a rear wheel drive car, and if you've been brought up on rear drive cars and then you jump into a front wheel drive car, it goes just a little bit wild and woolly at the end of the Hatzenblatt there. Getting into a corner and feeling the car sliding, you can keep your foot in. Sometimes it helps to nail the throttle if you start going sideways and point the wheels where you want to go rather than steering into the skid as you would do in a rear drive car and probably fractionally come off the throttle a little bit, and that's exactly the same here. The vagaries of driving. Oh, Felix, change up, watch it change up the lights there. Just hammered the rev limiter up. Right on the rev limiter now because he didn't want to change up. Ended up Hatzenblatt again. This battle for 3rd and 4th position. Sim RC, that bright yellow Audi in behind the 26. The blue car, Evolution Racing team, and that's Ethan Grigalt who's taken that car over. So Felix Luding for Sim RC now, so that was a driver change as well. Matti Adazur for Vendaval Blue team stayed in the car, and he's the car in 2nd position further up the road. Side by side, are you kidding me? Really? You want to do side by side there? Going up into the braking area. Well, he's managed to get through and pulls back up the racing line before the left-hander at Schwedenkreuz. Top of the hill before you dive down through Arnberg and down into the Foxhole.
Well, I think what we saw there, John, was confidence in the car. Felix Luding has done several of these rounds in the digital NNS, and he just got in the car and just a bit more on it than Ethan Grigalt, who's probably feeling his way in. But fabulous move for Sim RC. So Felix Luding building on some really good work in that opening stint. But don't forget, before the TCR pit stops, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, all but nose tail, fighting for the lead of the class. But the erstwhile leader, Jack Sedgwick, is down in 7th now, but he was one of the few who seemed to have taken on the full complement of tyres. So I expect to see him in the Craig setup shop Friends team, car number 63, coming back up the order. As he stayed on board, fresh rubber, he's got an advantage for sure.
And you're working that out, just to let everybody know, by looking at the time stationary in the pits, yeah?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
About, just to let you know, Matti Cardisoa, 1 minute 6.6, Mins were out in the pits, and Jack Sedgwick was, I've lost him off my screen, 121.1, 15 seconds different, thereabouts, 14.5 between friends.
Okay. Half a set of tyres then. As Martin Heyman, great friend and colleague, I'm glad to hear Martin's feeling a bit better as well. Martin has been part of touring cars for a very, very long time, right up to including the World Touring Car Championship. As he always says, rear tyres on a front-wheel drive touring car only there to stop the exhaust trailing on the ground. Like it's a tad more than that, but I do get what you're saying. You're not working them very hard at all. The trick used to be, my first race was in a Ford Fiesta. The Ford Fiesta Championship that used to support the British Touring Car Championship. And what you would do is you would go out and do a couple of laps and then put your fronts on the back on the grid if you had time to do it. And then you would have a little more heat in the back tyres. So you can always warm the front tyres up the front-wheel drive car. And then you didn't get the horrible oversteer as you pitched into the first corner. My first racing corner was at Croft, fast right-hander at the end of the pit straight at Clairvaux.
That is a heck of a first racing corner.
Oh yeah. Fortunately, I'd never. This goes to show how sometimes being unprepared is the best thing. I'd never done a racing start before, and I'd never practiced it, so I had absolutely no clue how many revs I needed to have on it when I dropped the clutch, which meant, from a relatively creditable starting point, less than a second off the leader around Croft, which by the way put me 21st out of 30 whatever it was. I was swamped at a jump start. Well, exactly. I was swamped by most of the cars behind me, but given that in the midfield there was a huge kerfuffle, I arrived late enough to pick my way back through at the game and had a net game until I was nerfed off on the last corner by somebody who used me as a brake. But having a bad start actually paid dividends for me at that point. Fourth position for the Porsche 911, number 911 as well in the 911 class. Alexander Thieme for Porsche 24, driven by Redline. Just listen to the engine, how carefully he's on and off the throttle. And remember, all of these drivers, no matter what class they're in, what they don't have is the sensation of the car moving around, as it was under Alexander there, as he came out from Brünchen. And with the back end moving around, the only way that you know the car's moving around is from the visual clues and the engine note rising if you're starting to spin the wheels. It's an extraordinary thing to see how precise these drivers can be without some of the sensory inputs that they'd normally be getting and the clues that they'd normally be getting if they were sitting in a real car. Through the second part of Flat's car and then down to the right-hander before Schwalbenschwanz across the bridge. Hit your turning point. He's struggling with rear-end grip on that car. Really struggling with rear-end grip on that car. You can hear from his throttle application just how careful he has to be. Gallenkopf now, the gallows head corner. Missed the middle apex and then cut it back. Watch for the red-white curve on the right-hand side. You need to be right up against the starting point of that to get you onto the long Dottinger Hohe. But certainly seems
to be suffering for rear-end grip because he changed all the tyres, as did the Porsche in front of him. The Green Racing team. The first two cars in class, Martin Asher and Thibaut Casabon, did less time at a standstill. They will have tyres that are even more warm than these. So I think, again, be careful. But what we saw from the start of the race, on with the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars are getting very close. Look pretty loose on the surface.
Oh, he's put himself off. Magnificent save by Alexander as he was closing in on the third place car in class. Is that Verstappen? That's not Verstappen ahead of him, is it?
No.
So that's a lapped car in the gendarmerie colours.
Yeah,
oh no, that's the Grignol Racing Team. Yeah,
Johan Harthy's on the tail off now, but Alexander Tipper, we talked about how you get visual clues more than physical ones, and Pitch and Yaw, forget it. I'm on the grass on the base straight.
That was a masterful save, not only to keep it out of the barriers, but then to regain his composure and get back on the Johan Hart's Grignol Racing Team in the French police car colours, the gendarmerie colours, which I think is very funny. And make the pass. That was the pass for position. That 17 car looked the wrong way there. I looked behind Johan instead of in front of him on the timing screen. No, anybody would think I didn't do this for goodness sake, I don't. But that was a lovely bit of sim. It is too exciting. It's way too exciting. And fabulous to be able to see the nuances of what's happening. I wonder if it's just then cold tyres on that car and it's taking a lap to get any kind of heat onto the tyre surface to be able to feel absolutely secure in getting the throttle, because you could hear how tentative he was on the throttle application, and still he was sliding the car around. It looks better now on the Grand Prix circuit.
Well, you know what, I think it really is maybe taking quite a while, because the first couple of laps of the race, whenever we looked at this, the secondary class for the 911 GT3 Cup class cars, they were looking loose. Even the very best drivers in class, Martin Asher, Alexander Tiber, the driver who we've just been watching in number 911, they were loose and a little bit messy. It did tighten up, but I'd really love to see some action from Martin Asher, who's leading the class by nearly 10 seconds, because he's on much older tyres. And I also wanted to keep an eye on the lap times of the front two cars. We saw the red line Ferrari, the black one, going to lead the race past Lauren Heinrich's BMW, nearly 7.5 seconds to good, and he's nearly 4 seconds faster last time around now than Heinrich. He is ripping his way clear.
Cup cars
and new tyres.
Porsche Cup cars in the real world, very, very good endurance racing machines. They go long on a tank of fuel. We've seen them well inside the top 10 on the fuel strategy, haven't we, in the early runnings of things like the Dubai 24. However, they are not the easiest cars to drive in the real world. There was one season where they had, as a cup car, they had an ABS option, and I think that was the first year of the 996, the first of the air-cooled models. There is an upgrade for ABS for cars that go endurance racing, but it's generally thought that if you can drive a Porsche Cup car, with no driver aids, fabulous save by the number 911 and Alexander Weber in that the orange, black and white car. Just feathered off the throttle and got it back.
I wonder, could have been third and fourth removed from the race there, and well, in the class.
I wonder how close he thought he was to the barriers there, and whether it was and that was all caused by the fact that he drafted up, of course, to the back of Johan Hart in the Grignol Racing Team, and then whether he was slightly distracted, whether he had the feeling he had to change his mind, whether it was just the act of lifting off. The car just could have been even in these cars, could have been a bit of aero punch that he got there that just forced him wide coming into that kink, or a combination of all of the above, but he saved it.
I think he just actually got a better toe than he realised. The second race he was a tiny bit too close to try and pull out around the side, and then overreacted, but by golly, his lack of reaction once he got onto the grass, i.e. minimising any steering input, was what saved him. That was spectacular. He should have started breathing again by now.
Yes, Code Brown there for the rest of his teammates. And the thing is, this early in the race, you really don't want to let your teammates down. Let's check back in with TCR, where there's always a battle to be had. We don't have the 7 cars running line astern as before, but 5th, 6th and 7th, 8th and 9th, 5th, 6th and 7th not too far apart, with the blue number 597 leading that out. The back end of that Audi just sliding around on the run down from Callum Hart as well. 597 is Cedric Nebelsiek in the RSO 597. Great setup shot, Jack Sedgwick. Now that was the car, if you remember, that Bruce told us had we felt changed all 4 tyres. So may have
looking down the times, John, for the pit stops, it's almost as though some of the rivals might have changed all 4 tyres, but just done it more speedily. The slowest of all the pit stops of the TCR cars was the one leading, Jack Edwards. He's down in 6th. Maybe it's not making great ground on the track, so maybe they were just slow in the pits and some of their rivals were just quicker to change all 4 tyres. We'll see.
I wonder if he missed his box and had to have a bit of a shuffle, which can easily cost you a little bit of time there. And Deputy Gareth Evans, among others, talking about being able to adapt to only the feedback, the visual cues that you're getting and the feedback from things like the pedals and the steering wheel. And he does point out that some of the equipment and some of the software on sims will give you information about the grip through the steering force feedback, giving you an indication of a bit of oversteer with a little force towards the direction that it's moving. It subtly encourages the counter steering from the driver as Sedgwick moves through, by the way, on the battling blue car that we were watching. So that's a position made up there to 5th, and Neville CF drops down to 6th. Lars Ball in Full Send Racing, the 85, that's the dark grey car, isn't it? Is another 2.5 seconds farther back. Probably just see the car, for those of you watching on the stream, in the background. If you can't stay sitting in front of your computer all the time today and tomorrow, then we will have the audio for you on RS1, so take that with you, part of the Radio Show Limited network channels. Remind you that next week, Midweek Motorsport on Wednesday, as usual at 8 o'clock, we'll have our VCO Victory Circle interviews from some of the winning drivers from this weekend. And then also on Thursday, we're at Mid-Ohio for the next round of the IMSA iRacing E-Series, and Nick and Ben joining me for that. 80 entries for 50 spots last time out at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, all real-world drivers in that one for a 90-minute blast with one pit stop, all in GT Le Mans cars. So plenty going on for you in the next couple of weeks in terms of motorsport chat and motorsport action.
Okay, something interesting has just happened, John. Our race leader has made a second pit stop. That's the Team Redline Black entry. We've got a new driver on board. Jonas Wallmeyer has taken that over, and he, along with his pit stop, I have to do some maths. I think that was no change of tyres by looks of things, just a driver change. We'll find out shortly. But so it's the BS competition BMW separated by 13 seconds. Lauren Heinrich leading now from Kai Kashuba, but that was after 13 laps. Got that in the book.
Yeah. Right. So did he stop at the end of the 14th lap? And we just haven't seen that pop over yet.
No, because the ones that are continued have only got 13 laps, don't they?
Okay. Right. I'm a bit behind here. Let me refresh everything so that I can see that.
You look down for 2 seconds, that happens.
Yeah. I've always been the same, Bruce. And the more screens you have, of course, the more often you're going to miss something. All right. Well, let's check out what's happening on the track. So 0-1 on the windscreen of the Ferrari. That is the number 71 car. Jonas Wallmeyer, Team Redline Black. Well, last time I looked, that was down in 7th position. So is everybody ahead of him stopped?
You know, I'm confused. That's still saying 0-1 on the screen.
That would have been at the end of the last lap for that car. So if something changed.
As far as my timing screen, it told me his second stop was 1 minute 3.7 seconds.
Ah, right. No, he would have gone across the line. Did he go across the line in the lead? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, got you.
Sometimes it's important to explain things as we try and guess.
So Heinrich's leading in the BMW, the 089 car. That Correct. Is the BS competition car that's leading. And coming to the end of their 14th lap now, which means that car should be in the pits, I reckon, at the end of this lap.
7 and 7. So his teammate Kai Kashuba in the second of the BS competition BMWs, nearly 14 seconds in arrears. will be coming in as well, as will the third place Marla Racing team. Alex Arana driven Audi, but effectively, we'll see how long the slot there, pit stops are, should be longer this time around. They had the short pit stop at the end of the first stint. So we can do some maths, but why not just wait half a lap and then see how they swap together?
Yeah, but what I'm worried about there is
second stint.
Vaneka did 1 lap fewer on his last stint before he handed over to his teammate. And he did
that was on the newer rubber.
Yes, I was exactly so.
Yeah.
So what was going on there with them? I've swapped screens now, and now I'm looking at my strategy screen so that I can see that, because I thought I was a little bit behind on my timing screen, but actually I've just been thick, to be honest. So Heinrich leads then by getting on for 14 seconds, let's call it that, but we'll pit this time round and we'll absolutely need a new set of tyres. No ifs, buts or maybe, because they're coming to the end of their second stint and have been running 2, 3, 4 seconds off the pace of their best lap. But in terms...
3 going on 4, it was getting more and more as the stint went on, as you could imagine.
And as far as... have a look at me averages here. Yeah, and they've dropped off. They've dropped off a good 1.5 to 2 seconds on average, maybe even a little bit more than that. So if it's 25 seconds to change and you're doing 7 lap stints, it's got to be more than 3 seconds a lap that it costs you. And it really did look like that in the early part of the stint, Bruce, because the BMWs were caught fairly quickly, but it looks like that performance drop-off on the tyres has stabilised in the second half of the stint, because the first 2 laps, they looked like they were going to be absolutely hung out to dry, but that's not been the case.
No, exactly. We have to watch this very, very carefully indeed, but right now, not the case at all. I'm surprised they came in. If it'd been the other way around, the BMWs had come in at the end of lap 13, I could sort of get that, but that's counterculture.
Very much. So, let's see if this BMW peels off at the end of the run down the Donegal through the T-Car. Should do by my work. It's pretty easy for the GT3, the SP9 cars. If you think about an hour, the end of the lap closest to the top of the to the end of a racing hour, although that's not going to, so it's going to be the end of the racing lap nearest to 1/4 the hour we are on, and it's 14 minutes and 25 seconds past the hour. Sorry, 44 minutes as he comes in from the lead. So pit lane counter is starting. The stop should be just over a minute to do a full tank of fuel and all the tyres. As he rolls down on the pit lane speed limiter, the Porsche safety car sitting. And was there a little adjustment there, you see, before the fuel started going in, and the rest of the cars coming in behind him, Klein Kashuba, Alex Arana and Alejandro Sanchez for the blue Ferrari team, all coming into the pit lane as well. The Audi is in there. Driver change for the second BS car, that's why it flickered and disappeared, the one with the red on it. Is Heinrich going to do a triple stint here? Because I haven't seen that car change driver yet.
I think they are changing driver.
Well, let's have a look. They normally disappear for just a moment as the driver change goes on. As I say, Porsche safety car 911 sitting at the end of the pit lane, not required. So the top 7 have now come in. So Jonas Wallmeyer, who came in for team, or took the car over from Maxi at the end of the last lap. Tyres going on for the Marla car and for the Ferrari, the blue Ferrari. As you can see, those cars pop up on their jacks. So the BS blue stripe car going out, and I think they've got out without, Wallmeyer's just gone through. Wallmeyer's just gone through in the Ferrari, Team Red Line Ferrari, number 71, with the red flash down the side. Just saw him going through there. So he's gone through. So now we've got to say to ourselves, Bruce, let's reassess what happened, remember, this was the car that did the single stint on the tyres and then handed over to a driver after a double stint for their first opening driver, but they've got the lead back. So Redline have got the lead back over the cars that double stinted.
And what they have done is gained in that about 7 seconds. Don't forget, at the end of the first stint, the black Ferrari, Maximilian Benecke was leading by about 8 and a bit seconds. He's now 15 and a bit seconds clear. So that really has come their way. Maybe not as much as we thought when the Ferraris were so quick in the early laps of the second stint. Traffic played its role, but I hope the time it sort of sorts itself out across everyone. But
tell me the other thing, Bruce.
We have had a driver change in the 89 BMW, and we've also, of course, had a driver change. Jonas Valmeyer in the 71 Ferrari that's leading the race. Let's take a look over the next few laps, see how they settle down and see how they work their rubber.
Well, Valmeyer has been out on those tyres 1 lap longer, so they've got more heat in them. So not only has he got an advantage in terms of real estate on the track, but he's got a performance advantage as well. Now, what we'll see is how the drivers chase him down. Alexander Voss is the mentor in the sim world to the real world BMW Motorsport drivers. So Bruno Spenger, Nicky Katzberg, those guys, Jesse Kron, those guys have been taking guidance. Oh, what a mistake there. Very unusual from Alexander Voss in the BS competition car. Through the Hatzenbach, got out of kilter. That's one of the sections where you have to be in rhythm with the track, and if you get behind on one corner, it'll pay off a couple of corners later, and he did well to hold that car. But on cold tyres, with the front wheels just lifting off as he goes through Flugplatz. So cold, of course, not because you get airborne there, but because there used to be a glider strip on the top of the hill to drivers left as they go through. There's some very colourful names of corners round the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which I love. So Voss, an uncharacteristic mistake. Valmeyer with a distance and performance advantage with tyres that will be warmer in a slightly overcast condition at the moment as well, which won't be held, Pete. So Voss now in the foxhole. It says 0-1 on the car, but of course that was when he crossed the line. Valmeyer leads and leads by, at the last split, about 17.5 seconds. So that's the difference of changing tyres at 2 stops, or at 1 stop rather, 2 stops, sorry, I'll get that right in a minute, rather than trying to double stint your tyres. It's Patrick Christoph Moser who's taken over the white and red Ferrari, the 72 car. Niels Koch has taken over the number 7 BS competition BMW. Augustin Canapino, real world driver, but a decent, very decent sim racer, and sim racing his youth as well. 4-time Argentinian touring car champion in real world, and a man who's driven the mighty and the beast-like Cadillac DPI in IMSA competition for Young Cross Racing. He is in the Mahler racing car in 5th as we go through the field. Mark Perez for MSI Esports Blue. That's the 75 Ferrari in that lovely chrome blue colour, going down through Callenheim, trying to chase down Augustin Canapino. Then in 7th position, the Williams Esports entered Audi R8. That's the 9 car. Josh Thompson, easy to spot that one with the white front end and then the graded colour scheme. He's hopping the curves as well as he heads down the hill. Then it's the number 450, the Biela Racing Team Europarts car, which is the Mike Nürnberg car in the 450. Then the VRS Coanda Simsport BMW of Jesse Kron, BMW driver in real world. That's the 108 car for Coanda Simsport. In that's the colours of all of the RS cars, the red, white and black. Easily spot those team cars in any class. And Nicholas Taymans for Sim Race 247, their A team, the number 1 Ferrari. That's the pretty much all white car, bereft of sponsorship, that car. Certainly as we're looking at it, not sure if they didn't upload their liveries quite correctly, or whether decided to just go for the just out of the factory look. But the plain white Ferrari, gloss white. Just maybe we can spot any damage pretty quickly, or any scuff marks on it at least. John Hindhaugh and Bruce Jones with just over 2 hours and let's call 2 hours and 5 minutes gone. So second pit stops completed, and we've got some second drivers in now as well, Bruce.
Yeah, just while you were talking there, John, I was just having a little look at the cumulative time at a standstill. And the race-leading car, surprise, surprise, the 71 Ferrari has been in the pits for the least time. We're only talking by 0.8 of a second, but small margins help. So for Team Redline Black, good to see their performance is very sharp indeed. 131.9 seconds cumulative time in the pit lane. The best of the rest actually was the car in 8th place. Hats off to Frank Bieler and his team. Bieler Racing Team Euronics, Mike Nuremberg, as you just mentioned, running their Ferrari in dark blue and yellow livery in 8th place. So they were pretty handy in the pit stops, but handy out on the track. Jonas Valmeyer 1 lap earlier onto these tyres and really making them go very well indeed. And he stretched his advantage at the front of the field by to 18.5 seconds. He's gained 2.5 seconds since the BS competition. Number 89 returned to the field with Alexander Voss on board, so it's all going right. Team Redline Black. How about Team Redline White? Well, they're in 3rd place at the moment.
Yeah, nice.
8.5 seconds down on the BMW, so both going very well indeed.
Thank you to Sandy Torres, who's tweeted at RSL_studio with the hashtag DN24RSL. The MSI Blue Ferrari, MSI Racing, is the virtual branch of somebody that you know very well, Bruce, the Spanish GT and Euro Formula team, Tiom Motorsports, and they've branched out into the virtual world as well, as many teams have done, both in the GT and other forms of racing. Notably, we think about people like Williams C Sports. Quite a few of the North American teams now as well taking sim racing quite seriously. BMW Motorsport taking it very seriously indeed.
The thing that really struck me about BMW's, how seriously they're taking it, is the fact you get proper press releases, really properly constructed. This is racing, this is what we do. Absolutely. And that is just brilliant.
Yeah, and they make sure that all their drivers are absolutely up for it and are as prepared as possible, and that's why people like Alexander Voss, who is a bit of a star in the sim racing world, currently behind the wheel of the blue and white BS competition car, the sort of darker red stripes on the left hand side of the sister car rather than the blue and black, or blue and dark blue, sorry, and stripes of the Voss car, numbers 89 machine, just crossing the start-finish line under the BMW banner.
Talking of things like BMW, John.
Yes.
I've got an iRacing column on my screen, and of the drivers in the top class, the one with the lowest rating is a BMW driver. It's Works driver in Jesse Crow.
Yes.
He's only 2.884, the highest ranked driver in this race is the driver in 2nd place. Alexander Voss, 9.06.2. No, hold on. Start driver, of course.
Yes.
Who's it? Beneke. He's 9,500 or something, isn't he?
I think he's over 10. Or at least he was. I am told that his rating's taken a bit of a thrashing recently. I don't know if he let one of his mates on whilst before the lockdown happened, or whether we're having a party or whatever. I know that Alex Arenas is over 9,000 as well. And if you talk to anybody from the organisation at iRacing, they'll tell you anybody that's over 5,000 or 6,000 is a pretty fine driver. Anything over 9 is what they class as alien. That's a different life form. As I once said, exactly. As I once said about a real world driver, but very appropriate language given what we're talking about with simulated racing. I said that a particular driver was clocked at a different speed, as if somebody had wound up his processor chip, like we used to do in the early days of gaming online, or even before gaming online, actually, long before we could think about gaming online. If you remember back to the days of Sports Car GT, and you did huge events, but effectively you had 5 days to do it, and you had to submit your game file, and then they were all tabulated, and you found out the results later on